Welcome everybody to Dragons of the West versus Imperium Academy here at Style Esports. I'm Paul, joined by Merlin in the booth, and we are super excited to get into this first draft here for game number 1.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for joining me, Merlin, Monday on a Sunday. I had to switch into this game. These are my teams. I have played matches against both of these guys. I'm a big fan of both teams. And I was really excited about casting the finals of this group. So far, we've got a smart ban. We have Zillion, I think, banned nearly all season against Uncle Ketamine. He has a 60% win rate, 130 games on that Zillion. And Zillion is just a broken champ in the sense that if you've got one person fed on your team, having to get him down twice because of that Zillion ult is really just a heartbreaker. Second ban by Imperium, also super solid. Sivir, a go-to for the Dragons ADC. Pappy Buck has played that against us at least 2 or 3 times. Super safe in lane, super high utility ult, and late game scaling. So I think another sharp ban. On the flip side, we've got some interesting bans coming out of Dragons. We've got Olaf and Ornn. What do you think about that, Paul?
I would say I like to see those bans. I mean, Olaf, you just don't want to deal with in that early game, right? Not having to deal with that one-on-one, no kind of cheeky plays. Getting rid of an Ornn too, I just generally like as a benchmark. Dragons of the West coming in sort of as a powerhouse of the team, right? And so you just want to kind of eliminate some of these pieces that can put a wrench in your plans. Getting rid of the Ornn and Malphite, not allowing for that heavy engage tool, I think really smart by them. And we're going to see Imperium Gaming here pick up Caitlyn, really popular B1 pick, and just an all-around super strong ADC right now.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's super safe, and it gives Valexia a little bit of an easier lane, no matter who gets chosen on the flip side. I will say that Imperium often play through Kakari. Their mid laner is the highest solo queue rating, Plat 1, but I think he could even climb higher if he wanted to. And this is going to be an epic mid lane battle, because Fish and Valor on Dragons is also their go-to carry in the mid lane. But so far, we have no kind of target bans at Kakari. His Orianna is definitely blindable. Our team has struggled against that in multiple games. So I would really like to see that come out. If it doesn't, and they hold him for second half of the draft, I really think that the Orianna will get banned. Countering the Caitlyn, we have an Ashe Thresh lane, which I think is a traditional counter. We've got Engage and Utility for Uncle Ketamine supporting the Ashe and Engage. So I really like that as a second pick. And I think these 2 picks from Imperium are going to be super important here.
Yeah, if you were talking about solid bot lanes in general, Ashe Thresh probably is going to fall at the top of any list that you're constructing here. But we're going to see Lee Sin and Orianna picked up next, so they're going to just, instead of banning it, just take it themselves.
No,
here.
that's what I wanted. That's what I thought was going to take it. Imperium's
Yeah.
Kakari. That is This is one of their strongest mid lanes, and Lee Sin is going to camp mid. Ooh, so we've got Cassidy coming out for Fish and Valor. That is not like a great Kassadin lane. It's not like he's up against Vigar here. He is definitely going to get threatened pre-6, and if the game goes 40 minutes, they get to win, because eventually Kassadin outscales and just kind of takes over the game. And the mechanics on Fish and Valor are definitely going to be strong enough to do just that. I will say, on Dragon's side, they banned the Ornn and the Malphite, and yes, the top laner from Imperium is a top lane tank main, but I don't know that it was worth targeting him with so many bans early on. I mean, he can play Mundo, he can play a lot of different things, and they're also giving up Darius. Darius on Donald Trump is incredible. It doesn't matter who you pick or what the counter pick is in lane, he will force his way through, and in the mid game with Ghost Ignite, just like run through teams. He's always going to be effective. So I really think the Kassadin could be picked later. No one's going to think, oh, Orianna, we definitely want to Kassadin that, and maybe they power pick that Darius in the top side. As it is, it looks like they're going to save last pick for top lane, and we'll see how the rest of the draft matches out. We've got Sejuani for kind of a generic tank jungler for Dragons. That's also a pretty solid comfort pick for Nemesis. He does have a lot of points on that Sejuani, 3rd most played. Kane and Graves are the other champs that he favors.
And the other thing I was looking at too, so I just checked to see for myself how much time Fish and Valor actually has on the cast, and just from looking at him, he doesn't have a ton of games, right? He only has I think 7 from what I'm reading here in 2020. Obviously, I don't believe it considers custom, so maybe he's just been practicing it in scrimmages more, but not something he flexes to a whole lot of the time. And we're gonna actually see Imperium round out here with a Mordekaiser here, and Dragons are at least for now hovering that they might want to look at a Renekton Mordekaiser top lane. So that could end up being fairly interesting here, and just they are going to go with the crocodile.
Interesting pick. So Mordekaiser is not, I think, one of the traditional Imperium top lane champs. He could have gone Maokai or Skarner, but this is kind of a lot more aggressive. So I'm actually a little worried about that top lane. Renekton has a huge amount of 0 to 5 pressure when Mordekaiser is weak, and there's no one in the game that sets up ganks better than Renekton. He can dash in, get a stun, allow Sejuani to get some stacks on for the stun, and I think the two of them easily are going to have enough damage to take down a Mordekaiser in the early game. Now, if he's got a bunch of games, if Flaming Thunder has a huge number of games on Mordekaiser, and I don't know about it, and he's going to navigate that early game and ult successfully, obviously a very strong champion, and capable of doing a lot. It's just not in his normal wheelhouse, and I worry that that lane falls apart. There's definitely potential for that lane to fall apart. The Taric, I have also not seen, but again, this is a different. This is Batamori instead of Emmy, so this is not the support I'm used to facing. I don't hate it, since any team that has Orianna is automatically looking for 5v5 team fights. Orianna just has such incredible utility and such a great AoE ult and AoE damage in general that she's always looking to 5v5, whereas Dragons has Kassadin and is going to set that Kassadin up in side lanes, possibly Renekton too, and be looking for picks and rotations and objectives. We'll see once we get in game how that pans out, but I feel like there's pretty clear win conditions for both teams, and it's going to come down at I think a lot to execution in the top lane and the mid lane. I think Taric, Caitlyn, Thresh, Ashe, unless somebody gets a pull or a hook, that should be, I think, farmy. It's possible that early dragon rotations will go to the Kate Taric, particularly since Orianna is going to be able to push the Kassadin in. But the real action is going to happen mid-top. If you do not make Kassadin miss 2 waves before 6, he won. It doesn't matter if he's 20 CS down. That's not enough. You want to make sure that he's a level down, that he's late to roam, that he doesn't have opportunities, and better yet, if you can get a kill or two. Because you're on a clock. If you've got a Kassadin and he hits 16, it's basically game over. It doesn't matter whether you've grabbed an inhib or 2. If they can defend the inhibs, he just becomes capable, just a monster. And anyone stepping out of line, even one step, I think can go down. I actually went ahead and scouted Dragons for a minute before this game, and they actually had Fish and Valor playing a practice game with the team on Kassadin. So I think this is something that they have prepared.
And I want to go back to your point too here on the bot side, right? Because ultimately, I think we both have the same idea in mind that if ultimately we're looking for it to be pretty chalky, should go pretty even throughout. But I at least want to highlight that if we do see Pappy Buck here get out onto an early lead, start 1-0, 2-0, get a favorable dragon fight, somehow pick up a triple kill, I think this game can swing in a hurry because, like you said, all things considered, both bot lanes probably just want to look for coming out of the laning phase even and just hope to God they can scale up. But if one of them gets ahead and is able to start making plays on Dragon, I think that's a real position where we could start to see some power shift in a way that neither team really wants to see that. Because I'm with you. I think mid and top lanes could be really volatile. I think they're going to play out in a really interesting way. And ultimately, if you let this Kassadin get online, it's game over. Like that's just. It's been a while. I haven't seen a really beefy Kassadin in a hot second, and I'm and that's always a good thing if you're playing into one, because that is terrifying.
It is. It is. I mean, Lee Sin and Orianna have incredible early game. Orianna is known as an early game pre-6 bully with significant damage at 6. And Lee Sin mobile with a significant amount of damage and an execute on its Q. It's not the easiest thing skill shot to land. But I would love to see Lee just bully this Kassadin all day long. Like, even if Sejuani joins a fight, unless they're fighting in a minion wave, I think they win the 2v2 pretty handedly. So, they just have to force recalls, get flashes, kills if you can, but really hammering down that mid lane is going to be the win condition for sure. It's not really getting ahead, it's keeping that Kassadin down. We talked about the bot side. I will say the one dangerous thing is the thresh hooks. Tarek has to dodge the thresh hooks. He can't eat thresh hooks, and he is a melee support. So there is some danger that he will get hooked or get too close, and that can definitely lead to kills. Thresh is tanky enough to eat a bunch of Kate damage while they focus the support in the early game when Kate hasn't bought items. So there is some potential, I think, for dragons to get ahead. I think Tarek's stun is a lot more difficult to land. And will primarily be used as a disengage tool. But really, I think the camera's going to be on this mid-top and jungle pathing, things along those lines. It sounds like we've had a little bit of a delay because one of the team's members has disconnected, and he is reconnecting, but we will get back into the game just as soon as they crank it up.
Yeah, and so one of the things I'm looking at for these teams, right, when we're thinking of this early game, is the idea of, I want to see, honestly, I want to see Dragons of the West go for a really severe heavy invade, right? Like, I just think they have a whole lot of tools. You touch on Death Sentence and just being able to have really strong early games, Renekton being super strong up, through level 3 and things like that. So, coming into this as strong as Dragons of the West have been, I'd love to see them go super strong in this early game. But we're going to step away here for just a moment as we let these teams get ready to go here and when we dive into the draft. So we will be back as soon as the player reconnects. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome to the Rift, everybody. Sorry for that delay, but we are back to the action here between Dragons of the West and Imperium Academy. Maybe I spoke too soon. We'll take a look here and see what's going on with the players, but I welcome back myself. I am Paul, joined by Merlin in the booth here. And Merlin, as we get ready to dive into the action here, what sort of things can we expect here in the early game?
So, thank you guys for joining us. Sorry for the delay. It was unfortunate, but we had a computer die, fizzle smoke, but then come back to life, and we're okay. We're in the game. And for those of you that stuck with us, thank you very much. This should be potentially a volatile level 1. Any game with a hook champ, you've got to at least consider the possibility that there will be an invade. And I am looking at the pings, and it looks like, according to the pings, Imperium want to do a little bit of a 5-point, but it is possible that we will see an invade towards the bot side. My favorite invade is the bot side try brush. There's 2 techniques that you can do to invade bot side try. One, you can just rush there as a 5-man, and that works okay in flex and solo queue. It doesn't work as well in a 5v5 match. The coordination's better and people generally get to their spots a little faster, but there is a technique you can use with a hook champ to get a high probability of a chance to land a hook. And that is kind of getting down into bot lane through the brush and then hugging that wall coming into try. And if you hug that wall, the vision is actually quite limited. And by the time they spot you in try brush, they are within hook range. So hopefully, if dragons execute on this invade, and I do think that they have a nice level 1, um, Renekton, Sejuani, Ashe, Thresh, those are really, really strong level 1 champs. And on the flip side, Kakari is pretty strong. I mean, it's kind of strong on both sides, but I don't think that Imperium is going to line up for an invade, or at least from the early pings. So we could see something volatile there. All right,
Sound
and we
I
just
was
got the
gonna say,
reconnect
yeah.
notice.
Yeah, we're talking in the background of the producer, and as soon as we're like, oh, maybe we might have to step away here, but it looks like we at least hear the reconnect coming back in. And so hopefully we can start the action here shortly. I know there's been some client issues. Actually, there's been some client issues globally, funny enough. I was reading earlier on the LCK playoffs today, but they were trying to use the Tournament Realms client servers. They went down and it was outside of Riot's control. So they actually had to have the players make a regular custom game, change all their in-game names, and like do a whole bunch of other different things just to be able to finish out like a game 4 or game 5 of the playoffs. So sort of a scuffed day here across the Rift. And so as we start finally into the action here, we'll see what sort of invades or anything going on. Again, we're keeping our eye here on the mid and top lanes for the most part, but obviously Pepe Buck and Uncle Ketamine going to be lethal on that bot side, and we'll see if anything ultimately comes from standing around checking out some points.
Pretty interesting. They are expecting Ketamine to go ahead and try and get an advanced ward. They're stacking 4-man in that brush. If he face checks that with the Tarek stun, there's a chance he'll have to burn flash. I don't think it'll net a kill, but this is a really clever stack. If you take a look, they also warded Tripbot try, so they're not going to get exposed there, but they're just hanging out in this brush. And a ward there, when you're on red side, does do a lot. It protects mid from like a level 2, and it allows you to know a little bit about rotations. So I do kind of like it. We have Flaming Thunder roaming top because he's got to get there. Minions have spawned. Um, it looks like no action is going to happen, unfortunately. I gotta say, unless you're gonna get that forward, I don't know why Ketamine wants to stand that far forward. If they 4-man walk at him in that scenario, I think there's a chance they could have got something done. Now, of course, you don't know that he's sitting there in the brush, but it's just worth noting that that's kind of a dangerous place. Looking at summoners and rune choices, I think everything looks pretty standard. I will say that Kassadin started with Doran's Shield. I'm used to seeing him with Corrupting Potion. And I think Corrupting Potion, Fleet Footwork, Teleport, Kassadin has just an insanely disgusting amount of sustain. And it'll be interesting to see how he holds up. Obviously, that Doran's Shield is going to help him against auto attacks and restore health, but I still think that it's actually most of the time pretty easy to sustain with that corrupting potion. Other things to note: Lee Sin did start bot side, as did Sejuani, so they're both going to be pathing towards the top side. We might see some level 3 fighting over that top scuttle. Um, but I also think that if Lee can focus mid lane, that'll be huge. And if Sejuani can work with the Renekton, that's the ideal spot to gank.
Absolutely. And so we'll be keeping our eyes on all of that here. Again, we now seeing Nemesis move on to his red buff here, and we'll ultimately see if they meet top side against Shadow. And so just a reminder here, this is a best of 5. And so the winner will be moving on to play Sand Shadows in the promotion relegation game following that here. But we might see our first action in the game. Kakari in the mid lane. Nemesis going to be moving on to them. Not quite yet. Won't get away with it. And we'll just have to back off it, at least looking early here. And maybe that now Shadow knows he can go topside unopposed.
Yeah, and they're coming back for a repeat gank. Look at this wraparound. No flash this time. Here we go.
Yeah, Nemesis coming in, double buffed and ready to roll. Kakari does not have flash. Your Fish and Valor going to move ahead. Exhaust coming out, stunned up, and the 2-on-1 going to be a piece of cake here. And ultimately, who's it going to go onto when they put it onto Fish and Valor?
Absolutely. That is exactly where you want your gold to go. And I do not like 5 camps from Lee Sin. Lee Sin is an early game jungler, and he falls off. He's like the quintessential jungler that doesn't carry, the one that goes 5-1 in the early game and then falls off. You have got to cover your mid laner. Kakari doesn't have TP, which I think is a mistake. In this match, you just want to be able to burn all your mana on top of Kassadin's face and then get back to lane quickly so you're not missing too much. As it is, Kassadin got a kill. He got a free recall. He is rolling. This is like his weakest point in the game. If you don't get a hold of him 0 to 6, gank time is over for Kassadin post 6. I don't think he's going to be using his ult aggressively, and that's the only way you get a 6-second window. As it is, Lee Sin did eventually fight for a Drake and get something done against the Sejuani, but there's a 4-man roam. If he keeps fighting this, he will die.
Ooh, yeah, even on the 101, he's losing out here. He has to flash away here in Shadow. Going to get hit a little bit by the chickens. Meanwhile, Hook lands death sentence into a flay. Valexia has to flash over the wall now. Fish and Valor going to step up in the mid lane here. Like we said, already has tiers, so we're going to start stacking that as well here. Nemesis is going to steal the Raptors, and Dragons of the West off to a really nice start in these 1-on-1s. But here comes Kakari looking for the pickup here. Nemesis has to charge away. Does not have the flash available. We see some pings coming out, trying to wait for his bot lane. Just kite things out. Ketamine with the flash and the lantern gets him away.
Epic Thresh Lantern, nicely done, Ketamine. Very strong mechanics, but good macro. I will say, nice job by Kakari. Kakari is very good at kind of collapsing on dragons and getting, picking up kills, but now he is in a brutal spot. He has no mana against a mid lane Kassadin, and the wave is frozen, and he just cannot get this under tower. There, even if he was autoing the wave, there is like no easy way for him to get that under tower, and without that, Cass has a free lane to 6, so he is in relatively bad shape. On the top side, the Mordekaiser's farming well. He's down 8, but that's not a significant amount. So I think that's going as well as expected. But again, we had Valexia, when he rotated up for that little fight in the jungle, he burned Flash for Thresh's Ignite. So that is going to be a very vulnerable Caitlyn in the bot lane for another 3 minutes. And we will look to see whether they are able to exploit that. Right now, Lee Sin hanging out for a long, long time against the level 6 Fish and Valor. This is just not going to work. And he's got a 2-level lead over the Orianna at this point. I mean, obviously, it's not a full 2-level lead. Orianna hits 5 already. There it is. He ults away, totally safe. I guess he doesn't have flash, but I still think that this is just a very difficult lane to gank once you get 6. Like, the game plan coming in has to be to smash the Kassadin pre-6, because if he gets a free lane, he's just so strong, and he's gotten better than a free lane. He's winning this lane. He's got an 8 CS lead at this point.
Exactly, and you're giving him the opportunity to start stacking tier so early on that you're really just setting him up for what was going to be his late game now starts approaching even into that mid game. It's going to be such a strong presence here. We do have first dragon up on the board. It is a Cloud Drake. We're seeing Demacia starting to scout around, maybe getting ready to try to do it themselves. Flaming Thunder not having any favorable trades here. Top side, obviously, DT on Renekton.
He's
Just
gonna
gonna have it his way. Ooh, yeah. Gonna stop the back a minimum here. Puts him into the Shadow Realm. Taken under tower. DT not gonna be able to finish it off. Wastes the flash and ends up dying here. And Realm of Death paying off big for Flaming Thunder.
What an outplay! Beaten the early game Renekton with 2-3 bars, baited by the recall under tower. Really, really nice. I fully expected him to die with Renekton having all of his cooldowns up, including ult. But Mordekaiser was able to put him in the death realm for the increased stats, kite around the turret, flash when he needed to, and gets out with a kill. And now he's just got a 7 CS deficit, and the kill gold will more than compensate for that. Excellent play by ImPerium's top laner. Nicely done.
Yeah, and sort of a lone bright spot to start off this game, right? Flash has burned plenty across the map here. Nemesis sort of letting his presence be known and efficient value getting this early lead, and where obviously you think Renekton's going to be the one to get ahead. Getting this Mordekaiser an early kill, getting them a nice vacuum to pick up a Haunting Guys and a Blasting one. He's going to hurt, and if there's any skirmishes topside, you can be able to just pluck out whoever's going to do the most damage and take care of business. That's a really good spot to be in.
Look at the spot side gank. They got the ball on Lee. They're trying to get him in. If he can land a Q, the ult will definitely do a lot of damage. Here we go.
Oh, stunned up. Yeah, 4 down bot side here. Uncle Ketamine gonna step up with the flay. Back everyone off here. And they're sort of just gonna have wasted a bunch of time, but now maybe they're able to make the first move on the dragon as Nemesis lies topside.
Actually like the move, even though it didn't work out. Look at the wave position. Orianna had already driven mid, so Kassadin was kind of pinned in lane, and then they're going to rotate after it and pick up Drake. So I think that this is a fine play. Kakari really wants to kind of go mid and pick up his wave, which I also think is fine. He's got to watch out for Kassadin cutting him off. Again, this just happens to be a moment where Kassadin has a 2-level lead, but that was a good bot rotation, gank, and Drake pickup. Drake's Dragon Soul.
Flaming Thunder doesn't know Nemesis is there. DT's going to step up with him, and they have the 2-on-1. Flaming Thunder does not have flash available here. Stunned up, 2-on-1. Procs the passive, and DT picking up the kill.
Nice gank. Snuck in through the brush and just waited for it. If you're patient, Renekton can set up ganks really, really well. So nicely done.
Ooh, Death Sentence and Flake, and at least give Pappy Buck the opportunity to get a couple of ticks in there. And now Kassadin, we talked about, you let him get a little bit powerful, able to roam here before Kakari can, and we're starting to see how dangerous that can be, even just the threat and idea of it. Meanwhile, Uncle Ketamine going to get chunked down to about a third, and they'll continue to trade bot side. Now, top side, Flaming Thunder going to walk into DT. Nemesis there as well. 2-on-3. Here comes Fish and Valor, though, on the rotation. Exhaust used on DT. Realm of Death used on Nemesis. He's caught out and not going to be able to get out alive here. So now has the stat boost as well in the 2-on-2. DT caught and taken down by Shadow, Fish, and Valor. Does he have enough power at this point? Oh, flashes into the wall. And they're going to be decimated after that.
Nicely done by ImPerium, rotating up with a little bit of lane pressure. Kassadin had to push down before able to rotate up, and they just won the 3v3. Really nicely played. A lot of the gold went onto Lee Sin, and he does fall off, but I think at this point you're just looking for kind of map pressure, and they are able to pick up the Herald, so that's the second objective they would take. I want to talk for a minute about the Bad Mori Valexia Kate combo. Like, that it is possible to land a Taric stun followed by a Kate trap. And they have had several opportunities, but the timing is just not quite right. That last one, Ketamine had to flash, so I think the last one was on point. But they really, I don't know whether they haven't practiced these two champs or they don't know the mechanics down, but they could be, the Thresh is really aggressive and is not super strong with, it's 0 kills. Nothing exciting has happened really in the bot lane. And I think if they play just a little bit crisper, they can put a lot more pressure on, be a lot more threatening. If they can land that Kate trap after landing the Tark stun. looking at the gold at this point, we've got 4K on the Kassadin, up 1K over the Orianna. The top laners are both at about 4K, kind of even. And Lee Sin has a couple hundred gold on the Sejuani. Nothing super amazing. All the laners are kind of within reaching distance of each other. It looks like we've got a little bit of ward coverage and fighting going on, and Lee Sin has snuck into the top side. Let's see if he'll be able to get anything done.
DT gonna be able to slice and dice for now. He's gonna go in under the tower. They're able to land the kick back out. Realm of Death is available. It uses it, but too late to save Shadow. Now DT can walk under the tower. Here's the rotation from Nemesis. Has to flash under it. Now picks up the stat boost, but will Nemesis have enough? Gonna able to flay in. Uses the ultimate. Flaming Thunder gonna go under tower. Has the passive, but not gonna have enough damage, and they're able to take the trade 2-for-1 here. Now bot side Death Sentence lands onto Badamori. Pappy Buck able to get a tick shot, but the really nice 2-for-1 on top side, and maybe a little bit too aggressive there from Flaming Thunder.
Yeah, it was a little strange by Flaming Thunder. I don't know whether he thought he had shield. He obviously had shield fully stacked, and if he pops that, he can probably take 2 turret shots, maybe 3. So I'm not sure if that was on cooldown from the Death Realm. There was also a little bit of a lack of coordination. Lee Sin went in, and Flaming Thunder did not immediately ult after Lee dropped his combo. But after that, you really want to protect your Lee Sin. Here we got some mid-fighting onto the Kassadin. But really, this is just Orianna Bird. And now it's a 3v3. I think they're in terrible shape right here.
Oh, yeah. Nemesis is going to be able to just decimate Shadow here. And you were right. Yeah, they get the Herald. But now I didn't catch it, and maybe you did there. Do you know if he was alive long enough to pick up the plate gold?
I think they both picked up plate gold.
Okay, so at least they get some value out of it. But not ultimately not going to be the best trade in the world there. They're probably going to wish they had that one back. And now with 20 seconds to go here on the Drake, Dragons, I think, going to look for maybe a brief reset or at least scour out some vision. They'll have priority on this drag.
Yeah, I don't think they want to let the Dragons get out of control. And really, I don't know why they just didn't take it. They got priority bot, mid, and their jungler was there. I think Lee Sin right now could just run to Dragon, ward hop the wall, and take it before Dragons was able to get back. The Scuttle does not see the back of the Dragon pit, so you can kind of take it if you're on the sly, particularly if your bot line continues to show. As it is, it looks like we are going to have a fight. We do not have
Enchanted Crystal Arrow gonna land stunned, and Badamori is gone before he knew it. Hasta la vista here, and really nice setup play.
Absolutely. Nice engage, definitive, using the Crystal Arrow by Pappy Buck to secure that second Drake. I think that it looks like Kari has a lot of pressure mid, and that's going to pull the Kassadin. So you could theoretically like 3v3, but you really don't want Kassadin to kind of come in on the backside of a big dragon fight. So I think just giving it up is fine. Go ahead, Paul.
I like the word you used, definitive there, right? Because you could that play easily could have taken a whole lot longer, but the call came out. Hey, Pappy Buck using Enchanted Crystal, we're going in. We're gonna pick this up real quick. Bada bing, boom, it's done. They get out of there quick and dirty to move on to Dragon, and I think that's just a flat out good call. They're able to execute it, or basically set themselves up with a shot down skill alley in the bush. So I really like how they're playing it aggressive.
Yep, it's good, and I mean, I know that Caitlyn is a good late game scaler, but Ashe also does tremendous damage. I feel like the Kassadin is going to be like a huge difference maker. And like right now, I know what it's like to play this game. Yeah, Dragons only has like a 3K lead, and that's not like a huge amount. And there's a dragon apiece. It looks like it's kind of even, but really like even isn't good enough for ImPerium. They need to be ahead because the other team has a Kassadin, and we're still in laning phase. All the outer turrets are up, but the game is really going to fall apart once we get to the kind of mid game. Their Kassadin just goes in for a single trade, and it's 60% of damage. This next trade will kill the Orianna if she's not careful.
Yeah, 2-level lead. Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands, stunned up exhaust under tower, and Fish of Valor still gets the kill. And Nemesis now going to jump under, taking tower aggro. Badamori step up for the stun here. Another hit on the Nemesis might do him in. Fish and Valor, though, now going to fall very low. But they'll ultimately walk away with a kill and be pretty happy with that.
Absolutely. We're now looking at a 1,500 gold lead. Kassadin is already completed his Archangel staff, obviously not fully. Oh my gosh, 728 bonus mana. So he's basically got that fully stacked at 17 minutes.
Disgusting.
Yeah, totally. And he's working. Uh, he's just going to be building more damage at this point, and it's just going to get worse. So I know a 3 kill lead doesn't look like a lot, but you've really got to consider the comp here. And I think things will, unless we see some good picks or some good macro, things are really going to fall apart in the next 10 minutes for Imperium, unless we see some really nice plays. At this point, Kakari 023 down 58 CS to a Kassadin, to a melee farmer. That just is not the way you expect this lane to go. And props to Fish and Valor. He's just mechanically really sound, and he got and to the whole Dragons team. I mean, he got the help he needed before 6. And Kakari did not get the help from his jungler that he needed to kind of stay in that lane. And it really has made a huge difference in terms of, him getting a chance to snowball the nade. Now I think he does have a legit 2-level lead.
They didn't know Nemesis was sitting in that bush. It was stuff up here into Valencia, and Bad Mori and Pappy Buck's just going to be able to take his time and put down Pappy Buck here. Or, excuse me, going to be able to take down Bad Mori. And so now they could just...
Advantage edge. It's possible they could turn this. Although with Kassadin in here, it looks like a 4v2 dive. Let's just see who takes aggro.
Yeah, they got 3 caster remaining, so not a ton of time, but a lot of taking this on Nemesis to eat tower aggro. Fish of Valor now getting chunked down here. Death Realm going to be used on him. Flaming Thunder has made the teleport down. Ketamine going to go with him. Fish of Valor not going to be able to get out of the realm of death here. Now they're starting to make the turn here. Flaming Thunder looking for more. Finally taken down by Pappy Buck here. And maybe they look to win this 2-on-1 if Ketamine can land a nice death sentence. Instead, looks like they might be content to just walk away here. Oh, goes over the wall, and he's gone. And a really nice turn here from Imperium.
Yeah, you can't forget that Kakari's on the backside pushing his wave, and now Thresh is totally in no man's land. Eventually, I can't imagine him getting away here.
Yeah, he's just trying to do a stall job. Maybe with DT, though, on bot side, he's got some help here. Maybe a slice and dice in a timely way. Death Sentence going to land here. Ultimate Cosmic Radiance is used. Kakari coming down as well. Going to go right in, though, trying to finally get on the board herself here. Domina's going to rip through Shadow Force. A 1-on-1 on the backside of the fight here. Finds one. Kakari now on the run after Ketamine stunned up with the Flay. Hoping that it's worth his life to have done that. Double kill. Bad Mori might follow next. 5 levels is too many. That's a triple kill here. And the Crocodile is putting them down.
Yeah. So there was some insane and really good micro. Valencia surviving that turret dive in order to do some damage. It was actually Pappy Buck, not Kassadin, on the backside with Ash, who got off a W to get the kill there. And then Lee Sin and Flaming Thunder, after he TP'd in, did like a ton of work, got an edge. Kakari roamed down and did well, but then the overstay. Oh my gosh, they chase. Donald Trump picks up 3 kills for 1 on the Thresh. Guys, you got to know when to leave it. You cannot run through a giant crocodile in search of Thresh and just let him eat the rest of your teammates. Orianna is actually really good at team fighting and kiting. Kakari could have in that fight just continually slowed down the Renekton and dealt damage and kept his eyes in front of him and made sure that none of his teammates died. But he kind of greeted. And here we go in the jungle.
Oh, yeah. Nemesis going to set things up on the sun. Flaming Thunder going to push him into the realm of death. DT now able to step up with Flaming Thunder gun. And now they're just going to kind of wait for him to come out. They're going to just turn to him. He's got so much damage here. Pappy Buck going to just try to kite away here. They're decimating the team, but Pappy Buck still more than alive. Exhaust coming out. Double kill for Flaming Thunder. Fish and Valor now gone. An ace in the hole takes him down here. And Imperium with a really nice turn there on that fight.
Beautiful work, Imperium. Oh my goodness. Just kind of standing in with the Mordekaiser ult, just soaking a huge amount of damage. He's got Rylai's and Liandry's. Rylai's Liandry's is an incredible spike for any mage. And Mordekaiser definitely makes great use of it. And I feel like Dragons don't understand what their win condition is, and they're just not taking the right kind of fight. Like, they should have Kassadin pushing in the side lane, but he has been, like, team fighting the entire time, and it's kind of hard to team fight as Kassadin because you have to avoid all the CC. Now, in that jungle fight, Fish and Valor did a great job. He sat behind the brush and he was waiting out of vision to try and hit a carry on the backside. Um, and he did go in and lay down a huge amount of damage, but he is not one-shotting people with Seraphs and Seeker's Arm Guard. In fact, I'm not sure why he just didn't go for more damage. I mean, Zonius is obviously like a critical item. But he immediately got kicked away by Lee and just ended up dying in the fight. So right now, they're doing what they should have done all along, which is not 5v5 team fight against an Oriana comp where she can, you know, do incredible shields. They need to 1-3-1 or have at least have Cassid in a side lane if you're going to 4-1. But then Cassidon can rotate and kind of pick people off. It splits the comp up. Oriana's not protected. Caitlyn's not protected. You've got lone champs kind of that in isolated fashion can get picked off by a late game Cassidon. I mean, they're still scaling. They're still doing well. But if they keep taking fights like that, you got to wonder if they have what it takes to kind of finish this division.
Yeah, and now we're going to see here hiding in the bush was Flaming Thunder. Fish and Valor steps up into it and going to be the one taken to the one-on-one. It looks like, excuse me, it was Uncle Ketamine. So finding the kill there, Thresh is out of the fight. Now they're stuck in this awkward, what will be 3v4. Now they're going to start to back off as ImPerium is content to find one.
It's interesting. I haven't seen Mordekaiser used as a pick champ. But Flaming Thunder clearly went in there knowing that Uncle Ketamine had its entire team behind him and still went in. Here we go. We got a flank here. Watch the Cassidon. This could be bad.
Oh, they're all clumped up here, too. Maybe has an opportunity. Nemesis going in. DT following up now. Going to do a whole lot and going to have to wait out the Cosmic Radiance. So Fish and Valor hanging by, trying to find a way in. A couple of them chunked below half now. At least they'll get them off the tower for now as Uncle Ketamine joins the fray. Fish and Valor ults in and has to flash away immediately. Flaming Thunder has passive proc. There goes Badamori. They're looking for more. DT gonna dodge Ace in the hook here. But Shadow's in the back line now. Ketamine finding the hook. Flaming Thunder's just doing way too much. They haven't found a way to stop him yet. Fish and Valor gonna be taken down now. Shadow with a beautiful kill. And another fight going really in favor of ImPerium Gaming as they're just rolling on through.
ImPerium's playing fantastic. And let me tell you, this Shadow, Lee Sin, holy cow, 636. He is in and out of these fights, executing low champs on the backside, flashing to get out. He is having a game, ladies and gentlemen. Super impressive. And again, the call for Dragons, I think, was suspect. So they left Pappy Buck defending under turret by himself with Sejuani and Cassidon flanking on one side and Renekton flanking on the other. But hello, Ash can't hold a turret against 4. He immediately died, tore the Oriana ult, and then everything kind of falls apart. You're losing one of your strongest team members. He was 4-2. A huge amount of gold gets taken off the table. And here, again, another 5v5 team fight. You've got to start saying that ImPerium's got what it takes if they're going to keep taking 5v5 team fights. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Flaming Thunder has Death Realm available, and so going to be able to just take someone into the realm. It's going to be Uncle Ketamine once again here. Nemesis now trying to look for something. Oh, excuse me, it was Nemesis. I misread the colors. So Nemesis is going to get rooted, taken down now by Valexia. The Crocodile finally able to find one. Does DT have any more in him? Cassidon finally finds a kill. Fish and Valor. Now they still haven't been able to take down Flaming Thunder. And now he's always a threat. Can't use the shield and finally taken down. They get the shutdown gold onto Pappy Buck. Maybe they can walk away with the dragon here. Fish and Valor, though, destroyed by Shadow here on the dive. Pappy Buck looking for more. Shadow gonna maybe try it, but that's gonna be an ace, a dragon, and finally a fight Dragons of the West can live with.
Nicely done. I think that fight started off with Badamori getting kind of picked in, and you know, Tark is tanky. We're looking at Knight's Vow, Bulwark of the Mountain, so he's got some stats, but not enough to like face damage from 5. And he did not have his ult. That is a big deal. Obviously, if you look for a pick with Flaming Thunder, and then When he comes out and is at his most vulnerable, when his cooldowns are down, that's when you can Tark, ult, and keep him alive and keep the engage from happening onto him. I think that's how you win fights. But the Tark ult was down from the previous, and I just feel like it wasn't clean enough. They overstepped a little bit. Kakari wasn't able to get a clean ult, and it was actually pretty scary. Fish and Valor kind of jumped into the fight, and they just didn't have the CC ready. They weren't ready to kind of turn. And it might be that he finally got Lichbane. I kind of wish he had completed this Lichbane like ages ago. Lichbane increases the damage massively for Kassadin, who's kind of constantly casting spells and now has a huge damage buff on a 1.5-second cooldown. He will probably be looking for Zhonya's next, but he really hasn't been maybe incredibly threatening to one-shot, but now I think he's really going to be dangerous. At this point, best play for macro would just be to send Fish and Valor bot side. I don't know whether he can 1v1 this Mordekaiser necessarily, possibly, but they can definitely threaten Baron, and he could TP to join, or he could try and, pick off a carry in rotation.
And with that fight as well, getting the Dragon off the back, and they'll be their second Inferno Dragon, puts them at soul point. So that'll be up here in 3 minutes, and Baron is on the board as now both teams just kind of having a vision war here on the top side. Kassadin hanging out bot side with the Mordekaiser. And obviously, anytime Flaming Thunder can step up and challenge him in the realm, and we could see how ultimately he does win that one-on-one here. 4-on-4 happening. Nemesis is going to step up, gets stunned away and deterred from it. And so now both teams have to continue this dance of seeing who's going to be the first one to try and or bait into Baron.
That was a mistake. I think when Nemesis went in, that was an opportunity for ImPerium just to turn on her. She was 1v3, 4, and you want to take those. Quite frankly, if you see Kassadin farming in the side lane, that's at the go button for me. It's time. Like, you want to try and get a pick. You want to go in and out as fast as you can, and make sure that your group back up as 4 by the time Kassadin gets back to you. But you know, Kassadin in the side lane takes, let's see, 11,000 gold off the table. And yeah, he can TP in, but I still think that there's an opportunity when you see him farming in side lanes and someone oversteps like that, to go ahead and engage and try and take the fight. Again,
I agree.
One by one, these guys are putting themselves in range of Lee Sin Insect, which we have seen Shadow do. Yeah, it looks like I don't know. I feel like the macro is kind of sloppy by both teams. Kassadin abandoned the split push. It looks like they're both going to posture around Baron. And I don't think that favors Dragons necessarily. It's possible that they might just wait the minute until they can pick up Dragon Soul. And I think it is definitely an option for ImPerium, just a 5-man push mid. I don't think that the wave clear is good enough. And Orianna, Lee Sin, Mordekaiser, Tark, that's the kind of comp that you want to be 5v5ing. That's the kind of comp you want to be sieging with. They just need to make a firm call and say, forget the top side wave. We're not going to do it. It looks like instead they're just going to push one more wave and then opt for a dragon fight. And I think they've won 2 out of 3, maybe. All right, here we go.
Yeah, so they're going to, for now, just be content to pick up blue buff here on Fish and Valor. ImPerium going up, posturing around Baron, and they're actually going to try to sneak this thing out and get it started. So now the chase is on for Dragons of the West, seeing how they can approach this. Hawk shot going to give them vision, let them know it's still not even below half. They're in the pit with enough tankiness to take this thing on here. And now they're into Shed Crystal Arrow lands, but Baron has been slain already. Flaming Thunder in the Shadow Realm. He pops out. He's on the backside of the fight on Fish and Valor. Has to use the Zhonya's here. Are they going to be able to kill him? They take down DT first. 4-on-5 here. Nemesis trying with everything he's got, but Flaming Thunder just got too much damage here. And numbers on his side. So they're going to walk away from this 5-on-3 with Baron here. An opportunity to start putting some damage into base.
Yeah, this is great. I really hope they push this mid lane and don't go to Drake. Don't go to Drake, guys. You can pick up the Drake on the backside. All right, so they're sending just Lee Sin, which I guess is okay, but really they are 2 men up, and they should be looking to kind of push this lead as hard as they can. And you do that by taking objectives first and dragons on the backside. Like right now, as 5, they would be just a little bit stronger. They push this turret a little farther. I do like that Lee Sin is going to bot side, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to crack the inhibitor here. We've got Donald Trump and Sejuani up in 4 seconds. Now it's starting to look like an overstay.
Right, I was just about to say, now it looks like they're overstaying there. Everyone's back. TP coming down bot side here from DT. So they kind of got a little greedy, I think, to your point. They were like, oh, we'll get bottom tower and mid tower and Dragon. Ultimately, only getting Dragon here is Fish and Valor going to try to look for some kind of cheeky pick. Can't land it. And they're going to at least be able to stabilize here in the mid lane with all the towers still intact from before.
I don't know why Valexia isn't autoing the cast. I mean, he knows how to attack, move, retreat, and attack. Kassadin was in like 400 unit range for like much of that push. And I don't know what he thinks he's going to do 3v1 versus, you know, Targ, Mordekaiser, Kate. Okay, so let's talk about that. Like, that was a failed Baron push. Like, Lee Sin wanted bot tower and they wanted mid tower and they got nothing. Nothing. All they got was Drake. So I think really maybe they just thought they could take more than they could or overstepped what they really could get done. But hopefully they can at least take advantage of the back half of their Baron buff. This is actually a really dangerous spot. Like, they're pushing top and bottom with side laners and 3. This is a 1-3-1. And really in the 1-3-1, Dragons really just wants to engage. If Renekton goes in and Kassadin goes in, clearly they've got plenty of gap closers. But instead, they went ahead and matched the 1-3-1, which I think is a terrible choice. I don't know why Badamore is completely out of position, but they still can win this 3v3.
Yeah, 3v3 going to happen. Cosmic Radiance burned out already. Nemesis now getting chunked down, going to try to work his way out. Meanwhile, top set, we finally get the 1-on-1. See how it goes. Fish and Valor in the realm of death. Flaming Thunder going to look, misses the Q here. Maybe Fish and Valor now has this opportunity. Pull doesn't land here. Now we see Shadow rotating to the mid lane. Flashes can't land the Q. He's healed up a whole bunch top set, so maybe looking for a re-engage on the Flaming Thunder or content to back off. They're not able to get turret here. Dominus is used. Now Nemesis and DT stepping up. Pappy Buck has a whole lot of range. Teleport coming down in the mid lane here. Flaming Thunder going to answer. They find the bot lane taken down. And now they can press forward with a comfortable 5-on-3.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange fight. Once the Renekton, joins the fight, they've got a huge amount of damage and engage and stun and CC. And I don't even know if they needed it, but Fish and Valor TP'd in and was going to do kind of backside finish damage. And the bot lane was just too low, too chunked, and at that point, not healthy enough to sustain. And they didn't even drop that mid turret. That mid turret stays up with about 200 health. So I feel like they just need to group as 5. Like, if you ignore your top lane, you've still got 2 turrets before inhib, and there's no way that Dragons can handle the 5v5. So you should be looking for that 5v5, but instead they took Baron, they went 1-3-1, didn't get top turret, didn't get bottom turret, didn't get mid turret, did a bunch of dying. And let's see, Baron is over. So they've really, in fact, they lost an inhibitor. You really got to convert on your Baron power pushes. You really got to know what kind of team comp you have. And I know it's tempting. Hey, we got Baron. We want to buff up as many minions as possible. But that doesn't play to your team comp. That doesn't play to your strengths. That doesn't take advantage of the Orianna. And that doesn't protect the Kate. It is a big deal that Mordekaiser is able to take one champion to the death realm and really, like, cut Dragon CC or damage depending on who he takes. But they just need to keep taking 5v5s. At this point, Kassadin is working on death cap. Orianna has Seraphs and death cap. He's still about an item and a half behind the Kassadin, but she does have significant damage. She will delete the Ashe and do damage to the frontliners. Renekton's on 4.5 items. We are approaching late game. Oh my gosh, Fish and Valor is level 17. That means the Castle is on a 2-second cooldown. He is incredibly mobile and has scaled. It is going to be difficult unless you get a good 5v5 fight, and you know where that Kassadin is. Like right now, Mordekaiser's on the bot side. When this Drake spawns, this is not going to go well.
Oh, Nemesis in, gonna find Glacial Prism here right off the bat here on Batamori. 4-on-3 can step up. Fish and Valor now on the backside, gonna be kicked away. Gonna Zanyas buy him time for the rest of the team to join. Oh, he gets deleted, shut down there. Now it's a 5v4. Flaming Thunder gonna join the fray here. DT gonna have to take him 1-on-1. And just not a late game champ, so he's going to be caught in a little bit of trouble here. Dominance and Flash away. Slice and Dice can't lead him to the Lantern, and that will give them a free Drake of their own.
I was wrong. It went great. All right, so Zonius is normally a good game on cast. You know when it's not a good game? It's when the opponent has a Kate. So yeah, he popped out of Zonius, and yeah, Thresh Lantern was right there, and yeah, his ult was on a 2-second cooldown, but he died instantly once he got out of Zonius. So he's gonna have to be a lot more careful. We got a little skirmish mid lane.
Yeah, Nemesis putting on a little onto Kakari here. Now, super minions here are in base. They're not a threat to tower or anything, but just to highlight that they still are pushing a little bit here. We see Pappy Buck bot side trying to push a tower, but they are able to get Baron here for ImPerium game or ImPerium Academy, excuse me. And so now ImPerium does hold a 1K gold lead. Both teams now stand at Soul Point with 2 Infernal Drakes of their own. And I think one of the interesting things for me now that we've seen a couple of these fights play out, right, is we highlighted here that deletion potential here for Fish and Valor. Riftwalk, 1.2 second cooldown here, just going to be a blink around as he pleases. But like you highlighted, they keep trying for these 5-on-5s, can't quite get there. They're trying for the flank jobs. They're just not quite setting them up right. And the one time they did get that favorable fight was at 1-3-1. But now that they have the Baron and they're close to Soul Point here, they can push down mid and start to force things on their own terms here for ImPerium.
Yeah, I mean, the side lanes are not in great shape, but I feel like I haven't seen Donald Trump have like a great TP in ages. And if you're going to take TP, you've got to use it to split in the side lanes. As it is, this 5v5, you got to favor ImPerium. Watch the Orianna ball. If she picks off the ADC or even the support, I think it's probably a one fight in that one moment. As it is, it looks like Dragons are going to give mid, but I'm not sure they can't just take the whole base here. I don't know if they'll play it safe. It looks like they're going to keep pushing. Like, you know, what's the difference between that inhib and just taking inner turrets? Like, if you can't defend the inhib, how are you going to defend the inner turrets?
Right, and so now they're just going to kind of try to posture, see if they can make a move on it. It's an awkward 5v5 setup right now. They do have a couple. Nemesis is going to go in here. DT going to try to dive into the backline here, slice and dice, but can't find anything. Going to be taken off the map. Now leaving it a 5v4. Nemesis is beefy, but not beefy enough. Kari here with the shockwave landing the kill here. Valexia going to follow next. Fish and Valor just hasn't been able to put anything together. Zanya's away. That's going to be Pappy Buck on the 1-2-3 here. Fish and Valor trying to finish the job. Just biding time here on Flaming Thunder. Uses the Q and misses. Going to be able to heal back up here in base. Maybe going to try for something, but at least for now, saves the Nexus.
Oh, I thought they had that. The Kate. It looks like this fight might not be done. No, they're backing off. Kaylin is pretty online. She's got 4 items. Only had 3 in that last fight, but she's dishing out pretty incredible damage. I think more than the Ashe, and I think that that was as good an engage as you could get. That was the Sejuani getting in people's faces with ult, and doing what she can to absorb, but. Renekton falls off. Ashe is dealing damage from a safe distance, but they were kind of unable to get to the critical carries, which at this point is the Orianna and the Kate. Yeah, you picked off the Tark, but not before he got his ult off, which was huge. It kind of resets the fight for like 5 seconds. But they're still in pretty commanding position. And at this point, it doesn't look like Dragon's macro. They're never going to put Kassadin in a side lane until he gets to an inhibitor, which they really need to do. He does have death cap. I totally think he wins the 1v1. Mordekaiser has built a Thornmail. He's got Thornmail and Zonias, which aren't particularly good against Kassadin, whereas Kassadin has like a full 4.5 damage items, including death cap. They just need to send him in a side lane. On the flip side, ImPerium has won every fight that they go 5v5. They could wait for Dragon Soul, which is up in 50 seconds, or they can just 5-man start pushing bot. The super minions mid will continue to push and require the attention of one champion on the side of dragons, so they can just be 5v4 bot lane if they want to. It looks like they're looking for a pick, and I think this is just bad. I don't think they see Fish and Valor.
Yeah, Fish and Valor. Oh, Kakari, you're going back to spawn for a minute here. Now they have a 5v4. That chunk from Alexi, though, on a Fish and Valor might end up mattering here a little bit if he's not able to heal up in time here. Nemesis going in, though. They land Death Sentence here on the Shadow. Keep in mind, does have Guardian Angel still available. Going to already have to proc it. Flaming Thunder here, looking for Fish and Valor. I believe is able to send him into the Death Realm here, but DT finds the kill. Flaming Thunder now going to come out to a welcoming party. There's 4 stunned up. He's going to Zhonya's, but delay the inevitable here. That's a death sentence for sure here. And I believe they could potentially end on these death timers.
I think so, but this Lee play is gorgeous. Are you kidding me? Shadow is going to try and sneak Soul, and he gets it. I don't think this is going to be game ending. Oriana's up in 12. She got plenty of wave clear. They're not going to go all the way. That was an incredible decision. Let's go back to the beginning of that fight. Oh, it looks like they're going to try and end.
Yeah, they're going to try 5v1 here, and I think they have the strength to at least dive the tower. 5-on-2 now. Do they have more coming? Not yet. And with that, Dragons of the West, after a topsy-turvy back and forth, every analogy in the book, they take game number 1.
Okay, that bot throw was disgusting. So it's like they were looking for a pick. Lee Sin was positioning aggressive towards bot side. They warded over the wall. No, you're not a pick comp. You're a 5v5 team fight comp with an Oriana. If you have an Oriana, it automatically makes you a 5v5 team comp. Just walk up the bot lane as 5 and make them dive you, defend turret, whatever. You've had incredible success. Just replicate that success. But no, they decide to just play against all of their strengths and try and get a pick and separate and spread out. And Fish and Valor one-shots Oriana, and the game ends. That's it. So lesson learned, guys. It's not necessarily about individual skill or gold or anything else, because the Kassadin was not super fed. But for the first time in that game, he played to his win condition, which is to just stay away from the team. Don't try and 5v5 and get assassinations on. And if you just get one assassination onto the right teammate, the rest of the fight just kind of falls apart. I feel like that was an incredible game. Tons of fun to cast. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I'm looking forward to the remaining games. We got a best of 5 here. In terms of picks and bans, I would be surprised. I'm not sure if they'll give Kassadin again. I do think that Kakari on the Ori, despite the 4-6-18 line, which is, not spectacular, I feel like he has incredible effectiveness in the game. And you really want to get him off one of his strongest champs. The Mordekaiser, surprisingly super strong, did a great job in that top lane, even got a turnaround kill under the tower against Renekton in the early game, which is not super easy for him to do. I didn't like the Sejuani. I don't know why they chose Sejuani as a front line. I know Graves and Kane are in Nemesis's kit, and I think either of those champs would have been more interesting and maybe got more done. I feel like you could also focus that Kate either by banning it or by selecting blue side, taking it yourself. I thought the Thresh and the Ashe did well. They just weren't able to do enough.
Yeah, and we'll see what they're able to put together here in game 2. We're going to cut to a short break to get the team synced up and ready to go, and then we'll be back with the draft. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, everybody. Here, game number 2, draft starting here between Dragons of the West versus Imperium Academy. I am Paul, joined by Merlin here in the booth, and we're excited to get this one going after a crazy topsy-turvy game 1.
All right, this should be interesting. We do have one change already. Dragons is on the left and Imperium is on the right. I'm not sure I actually like that. I guess they're looking to power pick Kakari last pick, possibly. I'm not entirely sure. We do have a couple mixed up, a little bit of a change of the earlier bands. Earlier bands were Olaf, Ornn, Malphite, and we see Olaf, Tarek, Malphite. Evidently, they thought that Tarek did enough to warrant the ban. Imperium Academy keeps the bans the same. I think it's fine. Zillion, Sivir, Diana, those are really some powerful picks. And we see Dragons go ahead and first pick that completely oppressive lane dominant Caitlyn. Super strong in the current meta. Definitely a blue first pick champ quite frequently. And we'll have to see what Imperium have to do bot side to counter that. But that it looks like we might just run it back. It looks like we've got Ashe on the flip side so far, who is, good indicate. But we'll have to see how the rest of the draft rounds out. Just finishing up from that earlier match, I do think that one of the weak points on Imperium was that Sejuani jungler. I'm hoping that they're able to pick up something different. We do have a Lee Sin, which is a repeat of the last pick. And we'll see, since they've picked jungler, whether they do that on the front half. I think it's actually smart to pick that on the front half because you don't run the risk of getting your champs banned out. I will say, one advantage of being on red side, and I didn't really consider this, but this gives Kakari the option to Orianna and then continue to ban out the Kassadin. So we do have a repeat, Kate Thresh, Sejuani. So the Thresh and the Sejuani and the jungler are both the same champs that we had last game. And I wasn't a huge fan of it, but evidently they felt like the Sejuani got a lot done in terms of being a frontliner. Let's see who Imperium go with here.
Yeah, and I think part of that is really most of our gripes and much of the airtime we spent griping was definitely on Fish and Valor's mid lane pick, right? Where we were just like, okay, they aren't playing his Kassadin, right? They're not seeing him split pushing. They're not seeing him into that side lane. They're not working around him properly or working with him properly. So be a part of me while I'm also like, I'd rather see them pick something else. You mentioned a Graves or Kane, and just go something like that and just be like, okay, we're going to go with a hyper carry potential option here, or Kane just be like, okay, maybe we can blow somebody up. But instead, they're going to sort of run that back. I don't really, and these teams pretty well here, Merlin. Is the ASO ban like is that a targeted ban? Does somebody on Imperium bust out a pretty mean ASO every now and again?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure what the Aurelion Soul pick is for. I don't know what the Annie pick is for either. But the Darius is a super important ban, and I am glad that they got that done. We should see support here with a last pick for Kakari. He does have a big enough champ pool that he should be able to take advantage of a mid laner that Fish and Valor picks to get a favorable matchup. We will see. Oh, the ASOL is the lost ban. So because there was that delay in game 1, Dragons lost a ban, and the Aurelion Soul was representative of that lost ban. So here we have a Nautilus, an engaged tank going into the Thresh. I think it can be okay.
I think so too. I like it just in terms of like two really strong meta ADCs and to really engage heavy strong supports. But it certainly doesn't set them back like a huge chunk or anything.
It actually creates a relatively safe lane. Because if Thresh goes in and follows a hook, Nautilus just CCs the ADC and gets turned on, and the same goes for Nautilus. If Nautilus tries to hook in and Thresh flays him back and hooks him, he's in a lot of danger. So the double hook champ bot lane, I think, makes that a little bit more passive. Ooh, we do see a swap up from game 1 on the top side. No Renekton this time, which I fell off. We've got a Mr. Uber Scalers in mid and top, Azir and Gangplank. I really like the Azir pick. Azir is a monster DPS champ, not super reliant on mana in the late game. Can really get a lot of work done, particularly against big front lines, especially immobile front lines. And to combat it, we've got Another Uber scaler, Cassiopeia, for Kakari, the ultimate 6-item champ. No feet, no boots. We'll see how late the game goes. But when you talk about last game, when we got to kind of 4 items, 5 items, and when you get to that part of the game, Azir and Cassiopeia are both incredible DPS machines. And with that Nautilus engage, and I think that Imperium have a chance of really stringing together a strong late game. So I kind of hate Gangplank. Like, there's a lot of Gangplanks, and I've cast a bunch of Gangplanks, and every time I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. But I see a lot of Gangplanks where you get to the end of the game and they're like, 1 and 3, and no kill participation, and you don't feel like they do anything in team fights. So I don't know. Like, is this guy gonna pop off and show us Gangplank the way it can be played and have incredible numbers and crit everybody to death, or is this gonna be another blah GP where he stays top lane and just farms waves all game and then dies in team fights, So prove me wrong, Donald Trump. Show me that Gangplank can be a winner. But I feel like that is a weak spot. I feel like Sejuani's a weak spot. Kate Thresh, not Ash are fine. So we're gonna see where the jungle pressure and execution. But these are both kind of team fight comps. Neither team has like a dedicated split pusher that does significantly worse in team fights, with the possible exception of GP. Yeah, it should be an interesting match, particularly to see where the jungle influence goes.
Part of what makes me concerned about the GP pick is the fact that last game they had a couple options to go 1-3-1 and have split pushers, or at minimum just send the cast into a sideline, and they sort of refused to do it. Now they're sort of handcuffing themselves to say, look, if we don't do that, we automatically lose, because you just cannot 5v5 every second with a Gangplank, or you're just absolutely doomed. So part of me is like, okay, maybe they recognize, hey, this is what we wanted to do. We only half did it. Let's just double down and triple down on it and just send GP away forever. The other part of me is worried where it's like, okay, well, you actually have to do that now, and you have to be confident and just keep running it back the same way. I will say, though, I like seeing the Azir come out, like just an incredibly strong, powerful mid laner here. You're giving it to Fish and Valor, who's obviously one of the best players we have in the entire group. And so some of the setup tools that you can have now with the Azir into Glacial Prism and then into Death Sentence, like just the chain of CC now and movement that you can create against hard engage like a Nautilus, I think could really suit Dragons well here.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. I've actually played against Fish and Valor's Azir before. I actually took Ornn into that matchup. He definitely scales and does an incredible amount of damage late game. I hope junglers pay a lot of attention to mid lane. I feel like that is it's hard to get an edge. Azir is definitely mobile and can escape ganks. But if you can help protect that Cassiopeia, who's weak with a thin mana pool early game, that will definitely help. Lee Sin could potentially go top. GP is gankable, no dashes, no significant movement speed, and Mordekaiser has shown the ability to land his abilities and pull that GP in out of position. So yeah, I kind of like. I think both teams have good team fight comps, and we'll see who kind of gets early leads, early drakes, and is able to kind of do a little bit of snowballing before we get to the part where we have 5v5 team fights. But I feel like Lee Sin is the enabler here. If you can get him out on the map level 3 after 3 or 4 camps instead of 5, and try and get an early gank, scuttle, try and get early dragons if you can. I think that's one of the ways Imperium can maybe turn this into a longer series, get a win off of dragons, is by executing on Lee Sin's insane early game through level 6, let's say. And Sejuani should be looking for counter ganks. Azir is going to push Cassiopeia in all day. They're just not going to be able to get much action there. I think GP will probably push the Mordekaiser early. And then Kate will push. So Sejuani's really going to be looking for counter ganks or just taking control of the crabs and the jungle as much as possible.
And so with that here, as we get through spectator delay, we're going to step away for just a minute to get synced up and be sure both teams are ready to go. But we will be on the Rift in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Game number 2, everybody on the Rift. Welcome back. We have Dragons of the West here versus ImPerium Academy in the Demacia Group Finals. I'm Paul, joined by Merlin once again, and we've got an incredible matchup coming once again after an awesome game 1.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. This is my division. These are my teams, and I'm excited to get to cast the second game. We have a 5-point just to start it off, making sure nothing sneaky happens despite both teams having hook champs. and it is a little bit unusual, but we have Cassiopeia 5 pointing to the top side. I'm not sure if it's going to be lane swapped, and it looks like she's going to try and get in GP's face a little bit. I do not think Mordekaiser would have a good time against Azir. But Cassiopeia would probably have a fine time against the GP. But unless they rotate back, I think we might see a mid-top lane swap from ImPerium.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like at least now. Cassio gonna ward deep here. Yeah, to me that looks like they are. Yeah, we're just not seeing enough movement yet to tell us if they're gonna end up undoing this here. And yeah, from what it looks like, and obviously Cassio's not getting anywhere in a hurry here. It looks like we're gonna see a lane swap, and
A
definitely not
double lane swap.
and I now and that part of it I think I like here. And I'm interested from your coaching perspective here. Gangplank being in mid here now against having to deal with Lee Sin potentially early on. What you think of this swap now from matching this?
I think it's fine. I think it's a short lane, and it covers some of GP's vulnerabilities. If he's top side and gets pushed in, it's a long lane. It's a little bit more difficult for him to get out. Also, I think Cassiopeia almost prefers a short lane. It would be difficult for Fish and Valor to stack up a giant wave against Kakari, but in top lane, I think that it probably should play out fairly similarly. And Azir is not nearly as vulnerable as GP is to ganks. So it kind of makes sense that way. Interestingly, both junglers look like they started bot side. But Ashe and Nautilus were able to get the push. The early push is a huge advantage. Hitting that level 2 and being able to trade some damage down, I think is a big deal. So ImPerium liking this bot lane, getting a lot done in the early game. Lee Sin, full clear bot side. Sejuani's done 4 camps and is looking to get out on the map. I really don't like full clearing with Lee Sin. It looks like Sejuani's going for a wraparound gank on this Mordekaiser. Let's see how it goes.
And Nemesis coming in, has double buffs, looking for a stun, able to land it, pop some airborne, and just going to walk away. A little bit of a wet noodle poke there between two beefy people here. And so now, another interesting thing for me, as we talked about here, two really fairly safe bot lane here in general. And kind of your point here, yeah, I don't like a full clear here from Shadow either. I want to see Lee Sin, especially now in light of the lane swap, make things a little bit even more chaotic, right? Trying to make an early play here, but we see Fish and Valor really taking topside slow. Thinking if we're thinking in terms of a lane being like a 0 to 100, keeping it kind of in that like 25 to 30 point range there. He's just not stepping up past the walk in the river here, and just keeping Shadow entirely at bay.
Right, we do have some flashes blown. Flaming Thunder was able to get in on Donald Trump with Lee's help and blow the flash mid, and Thresh got caught out by a knot hook and blew his flash. So now there are some opportunities for ganks. I don't know if Lee Sin knows he's sitting on a ward, but there are some opportunities, some champs that are flashless. Kakari had a very, very early back just to pick up Dark Seal, maybe some pots. I'm not sure what happened there. But pretty unusual for a mid laner to kind of back that early. And he does have a gigantic wave that he's face checking.
Ooh, yeah. Fish and Valor using the soldier to its fullest extent. They're going to do a whole bunch of damage there. And yeah, and so this is 0 right now. Even if the CS numbers don't show it, to me, and to your point on that early back, has to be feeling pretty good about this lane. Not even sure how much value you're going to get out of that Dark Seal ultimately. I'm not expecting Fish and Valor to totally int this lane, and Shadow hasn't been able to take a look at it much.
Right. I mean, I really, Kakari's really going to need Lee Sin. Kakari still has TP, and Azir has no mana, so I'm hoping that Kakari just goes ahead and jams this wave in, knowing that Azir was looking to back. But Lee Sin's got to support that top side when possible. Here we got a big engage 3v3 on the bot side.
Shadow coming down here, but maybe a little bit too late. Batamori gonna be chunked down. TP coming in, able to land first blood is Valexia. After all of that, now Fish and Valor had TP'd in, not able to find anything more, but they can turn their eyes onto Dragon potentially here. Shadow looking, lands the Q. Flaming Thunder's back in lane here with DT. Gangplank gonna just push in. It looks like they'll be able to pick up the first dragon of the game here. Shadow gonna have something to say about it though. Setting up a couple of traps around Pappy Buck, trying to keep them at bay. Fish and Valor putting in a couple of licks, and they'll walk away with a mountain dragon.
Yeah, so this is it looks like it's kind of free this first Drake, but they actually that TP, giving up that TP is huge. Kakari able to get a 15 CS lead at this point, and more importantly, probably a level lead, picking up a huge amount of gold, just sitting topside with Azir in full view the whole time. Um, so he's even got TP to get back to lane. This will definitely be uh, some itemization that he's looking for. Admittedly, Cassiopeia is a scaling champ. She often builds tier, but I think that was a pretty bad teleport by Fish and Valor to join that gank bot side. And I think that it was kind of over by the time he got there. And
Mhm.
yes, he had kind of pushed to turret, but he stayed down there for Drake. He stayed so long that he got in kind of a pretty serious CS deficit. Tyr is picked up by Kakari, and he is able to burn his TP and stop the recall of the Azir, which is going to kind of further waste his time and set up a freeze. Oh my gosh, this is some expert top lane play by the mid laner. Kakari's going to have to walk back, and he's going to lose at least another 2 waves. We'll have to see what happens. Meanwhile, Lee Sin is picking up bot Scuttle, which is the second Scuttle spawn. It looks like things are going pretty well for ImPerium. They've got a 400 gold lead at this point. And Mordekai's are doing fine into the GP. And I do I'm always like a little disappointed when a top laner gets the counter pick and isn't able to counter with it. Like, if you've got second pick against a Mordekaiser, there are some champs that make that a pretty impressive lane. It is not a champion. It is blindable, but it is not someone who does, super well into everybody. But here he is sitting in a free lane. He's got, just not a huge farm lane, but just a huge pressure advantage and just freely CSing. Finally, they sent Nemesis to come up and help break the freeze that Kakari had set up. He's back up to a 20 CS lead on the back of that freeze.
Oh, bot side, a couple flashes being burned. Shadow coming in here with Bada Mori. Under tower now, Ketamine going to try to fly him in. GP using the old bot side, and they get the kill on the Shadow. Really well played there, and a timely cannon barrage to get them out.
Yeah, I thought they had it. I thought the timing was okay. Lee Sin kicked Thresh into the wall, but they weren't able to follow up with enough damage, and the GP definitely helped and able to pick up that kill onto the Lee Sin. I don't hate the attempt. It really looked like a good 3v2
It
gank.
looked great.
Yeah, they just weren't quite able to convert on it.
And honestly, I kind of forgot about that aspect of the GP, right? Like, you have this global ultimate here. This slow combined with the damage, just able to keep Shadow under tower long enough. Well played too. Credit to Ketamine, able to get the flay, just keep them under there for long enough here, and able to get the better of that. And so now they're able to even out the gold. They have a dragon, and though that CS lead on top side here has to be looming large in their minds, this bot side at least getting some gold. And obviously you would have rather it go on Pappy Buck, but just continuing to get a bit of a lead here on the bot side.
Absolutely. And I will say, Sejuani has spent an incredible amount of time topside, not farming her jungle, trying to slow down the Kakari, trying to support her lane. And I just don't think it's amounted to much. We still have, I think maybe right now the freeze is going to be broken. Or maybe it's not so much a freeze as the fact that Azir just likes to push lanes anyway. Here we have Lee coming for a gank. He's going to get spotted out on the pink. But I feel like Sejuani wasted a huge amount of time topside when she could have been looking somewhere else.
Yeah, we'll see ultimately how that plays itself out, because Shadow is able to get a 9 CS advantage, excuse me, and Nemesis was able to pick up the Rift Herald, so we'll curious to see ultimately where he will look to drop that. Has that in his back pocket. Probably has a solid minute or two at least left to decide, so that's not burning up anytime soon here. And now we'll see Shadow pathing down towards the bot side. Next dragon is going to be spawning on the Rift here in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's likely our next fight. Interestingly, Kakari's TP is not going to be up, and Azir is still farming topside, but he will have the push. So I think he's going to push that topside and then rotate down, either to put pressure on mid while they Dragon or to try and help out with Dragon. Meanwhile, Sejuani's making it her way down for a lane gank. Ooh, and the Ashe Hawk shot is not going to spot her out.
Ooh, and now they can move in. Kedemi looking for the hook, lands it onto the Nautilus here. Glacial Prison not able to land here, but Badamore are going to have to back off, having lost half his health. Shadow is hanging by, though, so they're going to drop Rift, sort of force them into a gambit of how quickly can they destroy this Rift Herald. And now the fight on the Dragon. Flaming Thunder has rotated down here much quicker than DT. The arrow going to narrowly miss here. His Flaming Thunder going to shine Nemesis into the realm here. Has to flash in, passive is procced. And now they've got to fight slightly in their advantage. Shadow going to find the kill here. Ace in the hole comes out just to go on to Flaming Thunder. And they'll take that one kill here and move on to the Dragon. But there still could potentially be repercussions for this as they're looking for a play. Maybe they're going to just have to back off this at this point, and they will.
Yeah, so who did you like more in that fight, the GP or the Mordekaiser? Tell me.
I would say I'm gonna come out with a hot take and say I thought the Mordekaiser was a whole lot cooler. And to your point, it's like, hey, what are you really getting out of the GP? It was just so much slower to get down there. Canyon Barrage was, I think, pretty late. I might have missed it when it started up, but just not, it doesn't do anything. And then the early realm on Nemesis just destroyed them.
Right, the Death Realm getting the kill, leading to the Dragon. And we also have, Fish and Valor never joined. I feel like the only way that works is if you have Fish and Valor rotate down before Kakari's teleport is back up. His teleport's up in 5 or 6 seconds, so now that's not an issue. And he is still kind of power farming that top lane, still got a 20 CS lead. Still only a 400 gold difference between the two teams, 1 Drake apiece. I guess it's kind of slow, not very bloody. We got to wait until some towers fall before we start seeing a little bit more action. I will say I do like the Herald play on the turret in order to open up a little bit of dragon pressure so that you can potentially take Drake. But this Lee Sin Mordekaiser combo is really interesting. So Lee Sin goes in, deals a full combo worth of damage, and then Mordekaiser ults. And Lee Sin's mobile. He can just get out after that. He doesn't have to stick around while Mordekaiser finishes the target off. And they went on to Nemesis. They got the kill. I complained a little bit at the end of game 1 about that Sejuani, but it's 0-1-1-67 CS compared to 1-1-1-83 CS on the Lee, who is admittedly an early game champ. Here we see a dive under turret.
They knew Nemesis was there, and they still get taken down. Badamori goes down. Shadow, though, very nice kick there. Death Sentence going to land onto him, and Pappy Buck answers back. Good 2-for-1, but TP's coming in from the top side. Flaming Thunder, they're going to get stunned up at least for a second. Fish and Valor now hanging out here, and the GP has made the room down, so they have a potential 4-on-3 if they want to turn back, but they're happy to walk away.
And those were a lot of really oddly blown TPs. We got 2 TPs out of ImPerium and 1 from Dragons. But really, I think everybody just wanted to stay in lane. Lee Sin got in and out and got the execute, which I think was good onto the Sejuani, but he got caught by the Thresh Hook on the backside. Ashe also without the Crystal Arrow and just wasn't able to really get in and involved in that fight. And I think all the TPs were just late and useless. So we'll just have to wait for another rotation. It looks like Ketamine is trying to get something done topside. Let's see if Kakari can dodge the hook.
Ooh, nice play behind the tower. Dodges it away. And yeah, now the only team on the board is DT's on the gameplay, but we might be seeing our first maybe legitimate dive under tower of the game here. Nemesis is going to be setting up here now behind the tower. They're trying to just get this wave through here. Nemesis stunned up.
Goodness.
Now here comes a 3-on-3. Oh, kind of wacky lantern placement, going to send them in the wrong direction here. Shadow Realm was used there. No, excuse me, it was not used. It looked like it was for a second, but was not. So they'll get away only losing 1 for now. awkward ultimate exchange there. Fish and Valor will get away.
He did use it, but if you get out of vision, if you walk into a brush, by the time that the mace falls, it does not go off. So
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
ketamine
I was
was
like, I swear he used it.
ketamine was able to get out of vision by the time the spell went off, and it doesn't go on cooldown. He's still got it. Um, I think a pretty badly botched dive.
Hmm.
So Azir was taking forever to push the wave under the turret, and Nemesis went in before there were any minions under, and I'm not sure what he was doing. Um, Maybe he was trying to ult or the right time, but he ended up getting stunned. I think he ulted. He ended up getting stunned right as he went in and took a bunch of tower shots and eventually died. And Kakari came out of the stun and flashed out towards the Sejuani and was just like out of range from anybody to do any damage to him. Fish and Valor and Thresh were just left on the backside of that dive with nothing to do, just twiddling their thumbs. Thresh did get a lantern out to Sejuani, but it wasn't really enough. Here we have our, hopefully, a fight over Dragon. I see no reason why ImPerium would have to give this one up. But it is low, 2,000.
Yeah, gameplay keeping them zoned right now. Shadow and Kakari have to respect his damage. Gonna have to flash away here. Nemesis gonna be able to just move on as well. And yeah, they're gonna get that Dragon basically uncontested as they're just able to zone everyone off. Now Fish and Valor though in the mid lane. Emperor's Divide against the Flaming Thunder under the tower here, but Fish and Valor still caught. It has to flash back. Rift Harrow now summoned in the mid lane. That's gonna spice things up, at least for now, and maybe give them a reason and ability to back off here. Get takedown. Rift Harrow. Shadow going in. Kind of bold move there that doesn't pay off. Badamori taken down next. There's a double kill here for Gangplank. They're able to step up and take them away, but really nice fight there finally here from the side of Dragons.
Nemesis had a really nice engage. Nemesis was sitting in Raptor Pit just out of vision, and the moment Lee Sin went in, he kind of went in and CC'd the Imperium backline. This is actually a pretty dangerous spot for Kakari. He does not have flash.
Oh, there's Glacial Prison, and Gameplay can just step up here. Now Enchanted Crystal are going to land grounded, being chunked down here. And Valexia here single-handedly turning this fight around here. Kakari now will get away with his life here thanks to the timely ultimate.
Oh, what a great arrow. Kakari's indebted to his ADC for that one. But even aside from that, like, still just some wonderful kiting and movement and a finished Seraphs with the upgrade fully charged for the shield. He's got a 30 CS lead over his Azir, who really, Azir has not done a lot. And remember, Imperium play through Kakari, so getting gold on him, keeping him alive, keeping him up in levels is going to be important. At this point, it's still a close game. It's exactly 30k to 30k. No significant advantages for either team. I want Mordekaiser in that side lane. I don't think that GP can handle the Mordekaiser 1v1. Obviously, he's like a terrible ult target because GB can just eat oranges and it's okay. But I still think that Mordekaiser can have to push and then join fights. Push and join fights. Push and join fights. It looks like Badamori is getting some deep vision for him so that he can kind of push safely and is aware of the ganks. And then you can group up. You can group up as 3 and put Cassiopeia in a side lane, or you can group up as 4. But you definitely want Mordekaiser kind of soaking that experience, becoming that juggernaut that you know he's capable of being, while you try and pick up objectives. Gonna take a quick look. It looks like Herald is up in 17 seconds, and that's probably the next objective. Oh,
Fish and Valor. Emperor's Divide here going to delay the inevitable, taking down Kakari here, getting his first kill of the game. And here's that one we talked about here. Now Mordekaiser are going to match in the top side here against the Gangplank. Shadow is looking for a dive, does have Dragon's Rage available, used it there on Nemesis, and now going to have to back off himself. So they're able to find their third tower of the game, put a lot of pressure here on this mid inner, and maybe have an opportunity to force a Baron fight here. Excuse me, as Fish and Valor is only coming out of spawn here shortly.
I don't think they want a Baron quite yet, but that was a nice pick and turret. And right now they're doing exactly the right thing, which is to send Ashe to bot lane, let Kakari farm out mid, and reset with the gold you've got in the pocket. The entire team has about 1,000 gold. There's no sense and just sitting on it and taking fights before you're able to spend it. So I expect Ashe to finish clearing that wave and then reset. It looks like Nautilus is resetting as well. Cassiopeia needs to take this one more and then she'll back. Baron is the only objective on the table. I don't think either team has a lead feels like significantly stronger in the team fights to make that a reality for either team. I think Ketamine's still going to be roaming around the map looking for picks, getting vision, and it's going to be kind of farmy in the side lanes. They have Azir in the top side, and he is freezing, which is not bad when there's not any objectives of any meaning on the table. It looks like Mordekaiser's going to match, but because Azir has that freeze, he's probably missing out on a wave or two. Cassiopeia TPing mid just to make sure it doesn't miss any farm, doesn't miss any XP. I don't hate it. I am a big fan of TP on mid laners, and it does, let's say, fall off in the mid game where you don't need TP to get a good reset, and you're not often flanking. Oh, this is a great opportunity for a fight here. Ketamine's out of position.
Nick Ketamine had stepped up. Dreadline went right into the wall, and so Badamori wasn't able to get things started the way he wanted to. And now with the dragon coming up, though, in 5 seconds, they certainly have the inside lane to start some fighting here. Now, Nemesis, Ketamine, and Pappy Buck are going to set up behind the pit here, and we see them just kind of hanging tight now. Flaming Thunder has made the rotation. Fish and Valor is going to be the one late to the party. And so now it's a 5v4 with Fish and Valor on the wrong side of the street, chunking it down. Badamori finds the first CC, and now here comes the Gangplank ultimate here in the middle of the fray. But do they have enough to follow up? Pappy Buck finds one. Valexia answers back. DT going to look for a kill. Valexia taken down, though, by Ace in the hole. And now they are the ones that turn onto the dragon here. But Flaming Thunder has not been touched this entire time yet, so they need to do something about that. Going to trade their Shadow for Pappy Buck. Flaming Thunder going to be pushed back on Emperor's Divide. They're able to take the dragon, though. Fish and Valor now stuck against Kakari. Gets out here, and so they're going to trade 4 for 4, but ultimately here, ImPerium going to get the dragon.
Yeah, I think it's a win because you get the dragon. But Kakari was on 2 items, has a 10-stack Dark Seal's gonna, that is who's gonna drive through and carry the team. I really like Flaming Thunder on the backside, stopping the Azir from getting through immediately. He ulted him kind of just outside the Dragon Pit, and I thought that was really effective. I think you've got to be careful not to lose track of the Caitlyn. The Caitlyn does do a significant amount of damage, and that's got to be the priority target. Sejuani did the best he could, stoking up damage, being a big frontliner, but ultimately was killed relatively early on in the fight. But it's just great play. These are both team fight comps. Neither of them should be side laning. They both want these Drakes to go for control. They've just got to execute. This is about kind of micro target selection, getting good ults off. Kakari had a really nice ult in the last fight. It was late-ish, but it caught the Sejuani and kind of peeled the Sejuani off. Here we go with a little bit of potential action on the top side with a 3v3, but nothing happening. I would like to see Cassiopeia convert the Dark Seal into Mejai's. Like, the 10% speed boost is huge. Instead, she itemizes a Banshee Veil. I don't know how much I like that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know that I especially love it. I mean, it's getting you out of maybe a hook, but to this point, I don't even know if Ketamine's landed a hook on Kakari. And so I'm like, I don't necessarily know the value. I don't know really what it's getting you out of, right? Like, it's not getting you out of Cannon Barrage. You're not going to get far enough in a fight to avoid Ace in the hole or something like that. And so don't especially love it.
It's better against Ashe. It's better against mid laners like Annie, somebody who's single target damage. It looks like Sejuani's caught out, pathing away.
Oh, Nemesis. Oh, Nemesis, what are you doing here? Kakari, though, going to get hit by Ace in the hole, at least really tanky. Holding him much longer here than I expected. But now they're investing in this fight despite the early pick. So Fish and Valor being taken down. And now it's a 3v5 with Flaming Thunder behind them. Uncle Ketamine going to have to try to get out of here. Pappy Buck really not where you want to be in the realm of death. That's another kill here. Taken down. They'll enjoy those 3 kills. And now they get to turn their eyes on the Baron.
Yeah, there's no reason you can't turn to Baron. It is Thresh GP. What is Thresh GP gonna do here? So this should be a free Baron. I feel like, you know, Nemesis just really going for that Scuttle. I mean, I love Scuttle as much as the next person, especially as a mid laner. Taking that from the jungle feels pretty good, but it is not worth 3 deaths and a Baron, which is what it eventually cost him. So I feel like Ketamine was even in the right place. He threw his lantern, like Nemesis was giving every opportunity to turn away from the Scuttle and just play it safe. But picks with a 5v5 team fight comps like this lead to objectives. If you get picked and Dragons or Baron are on the map, like there is plenty of damage on this team. Cassiopeia building stopwatch, still not converting that Mage Eyes. We got a 3-1-9 Ashe. We got a lot of gold onto the Lee Sin. You know, I will say that ImPerium could use a better distribution of gold. They do not have kills necessarily exactly where they want them. But they are up 3.5k, sieging mid, which I kind of hate since you've got Lee Sin in his own jungle and Mordekaiser in a side lane. Why is Lee Sin farming his jungle when you're trying to do Baron pushes? I don't know. I mean, I guess he really wanted to pick up that next item. Interesting to note, he does have Black Cleaver and Yomu's, so he is building like a full damage Lee Sin, which means he will be really squishy. How do you counter really AD heavy assassins or assassins kind of any type? With a lot of CC. But GP doesn't bring a lot of CC to the table. Fish and Valor doesn't bring a lot of CC to the table, so really they don't have ways to deal with an AD Lee. So I kind of like the build, other than it falling off against the Sejuani. I think that's actually probably pretty good itemization.
Yeah, and I think they have to be careful that they don't fall into the same trap of the last game where they tried to go for everything and ultimately got nothing here. As Dragon's coming up now, it seems like they're a little bit more grouped, at least with a different map state than last time. But here we see Uncle Ketamine and Badamori exchanging blows, but Badamori is just going to flash away, not going to engage into that fight. And now, with each team having 2 Drakes here, this third one could mean a whole lot, chunking it down incredibly quick. Nemesis enters the pit, not able to steal it away here. Now they're stuck in the fight. Lamp going to take it away. This time, Cannon Barrage was used, and they'll walk away.
Yeah, there were a couple different, I think, mistakes there. It was definitely like a good dragon. But I wish Kakari had used his W, which is a ground, to prevent the Sejuani from getting out. I think they actually have enough damage to have been able to burn her down. I do like that they used the TP on Kakari to get back down for that dragon fight. They definitely need Kakari for the dragon fight. This is kind of bad. I don't like the siege. It's not like Dragons doesn't have wave clear. It's an Azir. Azir's got plenty of wave clear. I don't think anyone can match the Lee Sin. I actually think that you could split bot with Lee Sin and he'd be close enough to the fight to be able to join, although it's possible that he could get something with an insect or some sort of pick. And I don't know how much longer is on Baron. Maybe Baron's dropped off. So
I think it just dropped off.
So they were giving up the siege. They got the Baron and they picked up Dragon and they're on Soul Point, 4K lead. And maybe they thought that was kind of enough.
Yeah, so they're not able to get a whole lot off of that here. But now they've got 5-stacked mid. And it's situation here now for the side of Dragons of the West here. How can they answer back? 4K down. Their mid-tier 2 here is just a tick away, and they're going to sniff that away quickly here. Kakari takes a big blast there from Gangplank. And now they're going to be able to set back, reset, and get ready here for what will be some important fights before the Baron in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, Baron in 2, Dragon Soul in 3. We've got a Cloud Soul. I feel like this is just about managing your side waves, potentially getting a pick with Ashe. We've got all ults up on all teammates. And really, the Ashe ult is like a wonderful pick initiation. It's easy to follow it up with Mordekaiser. If you just sit in 5-man mid lane, I think that is a real viable way to start a fight off and potentially kind of just outright win the game. It looks like they're sending GP to a side lane, which is fine. Mordekaiser's matching, so he's not really going to be able to get anything done. At this point, we've got a 238 CC CS GP with 323, and he still has to run from the Mordekaiser. He still doesn't have priority in lane. Yeah, I just think that champ is suspect. All right, so we've got some posturing around mid lane.
Ooh,
and it looks like we're
Nemesis
looking for
stepping
pick.
up. Gonna get rooted. Now we have Ketamine against Shadow here. GP gonna step up and just try to blast him away. Ace in the hole gonna finish him off, but he's actually gone before that even happens. And so deleted off the map for the next 50 seconds here, just when Baron is spawning. And so now they can play around a little bit differently now as they have the numbers advantage on the Rift.
Yep, it's what I worried about. Like, this is a Lee Sin, a lethality Lee Sin, so he's going to be very squishy, and if he gets picked out, he's going to die. He ate a Thresh Hook, and you cannot eat Thresh Hooks. If you eat a Thresh Hook, you're going to die. It's not the end of the world. The death timer is not going to give Baron away. There's no Drake. The side lane pressure isn't particularly significant. I guess I just don't think that was just execution, right? Like, they're looking for a pick in the jungle. Dragons does have good ward coverage, and you're just not strong enough to kind of brute force. You really want to kind of pick your spots. Like right here with Lee Sin and Nautilus in base, you even want Ashe like pushing up the farm. You've got to consider like how rapidly they can engage from what range. Kakari's picking up the enemy blue. He is definitely strong enough for that. He is level 16 with 3 items. He does have Rylai's, which I really like. That Banshee's Veil and a fully stacked Seraphs. He is going for Death Cap, and once he builds Death Cap, he will just...
oh, they're just going to delete Baron. So they just sneak in Baron, and I don't know if they just effectively gave it up and just were content for that to happen or just didn't expect it so quickly, but Baron is gone now. And now they're going to cross mid lane. Hawkshot finds everybody. And so now they don't necessarily have anywhere to hide. And so they might just look for a fight here. We can tell they're looking for the hook. They find Shadow once again on the hook. Blown up, and that's a 5v4 now. Once again, the 5v4 they were looking for. Nemesis staying in here. Fish and Valor joining the fray now. Stunned up, though, himself. He uses Emperor's Divide to get Flaming Thunder at least away from him temporarily, but the Q will land. Nemesis chunks down. Uncle Ketamine getting out. Now the damage dealers here from this side of Dragons in trouble here. Gangplank and Pappy Buck have to flash away now as well, and Kakari finishing him off. And now they're going to have to head for the hills, and the siege is on in the mid lane.
I know you might feel good when you get the pick on the Lee Sin, but you have to remember that this Cassiopeia is pretty big. Ooh, interestingly, they send the Mordekaiser to TP back to contest for Drake. I love it. They're not giving up anything here.
Yeah, Nemesis has this one-on-one, and that is not at all going to go his way. He's going to get out of there. He's going to have to give up this Flaming Thunder. Okay, he was thinking, I guess, maybe Flaming Thunder walked away. Nemesis now going to fight this 50-50 here. Obviously going to have this fight as disposed when he's able to get it, so he stops the soul, and it will cost his life here after a bit of a delay, but at least able to prevent that big boost here in healing.
I don't know why Lisa needed to ult for that kill. That kill was
I don't.
Come on now. I think the gold at this point in the game would be better on everybody other than the lead. I also think that...
Whoa. Kakari, it would at least get a 1-for-1 there. I was not expecting that, but takes down Fish and Valor in a flurry.
I know, but what's he doing in a side lane at this point? Like, come on. Obviously, the team's going to get a lot done. So it's not just the 1-for-1 plus pressure. It's 1-for-1 plus turret, which I think is fine. But he had a 10-stack Dark Seal. I feel like just playing it safe, joining your team would have been better than kind of feeding the kill. He is able to build Death Cap, and he does have TP, so... the moment he revives in 27 seconds, I assume if they haven't kind of broken the spot side, he's going to be back in. This is a great time for Dragons to engage.
Yeah, Nemesis going to look for it here. Badamore, he's stunned up under tower. He's used the depth charge here, pops Nemesis up, but they're able to find the kill with Pappy Buck. Flaming Thunder now has full shield capacity available. Going to look for a Realm of Death. Gets Nemesis, has the stat boost. Will it be enough to pick up another? Dodges the Q here, and Pappy Buck picks up the kill. That'll be his 6th of the game. And at least for now, able to save the tower and pick up a couple kills.
Yeah, it's a little suspect going in without your Cassiopeia at 35 minutes. Like, that is uh a lot of
Hold.
damage, a lot of gold, a lot of CC, a lot of slow. There's just so much going on there. Also, it was a pretty big mistake to let Nemesis take the Drake. Like, they pushed for the inhib, but I really think in that scenario, when it's Dragon Soul, you just push for the dragon first, which is counter to like good macro strategy. Good macro strategy says go take the objective, the turret, the inhib first, and then fall back to Dragon Baron. But in this scenario, if you can't fall back to Dragon Baron, you got to take it first. Cloud Soul would have been, uh, not the best, but an important soul, and there are certainly players on Imperium that can use it, the regen. So I don't know why that ended up playing out the way it did. They still have a big advantage. It's only 5k, but the pressure from the downed inhibitor mid lane and the map control with Baron up in 2 minutes and another dragon up in about the same time, 220. I still think Imperium is in a dominant position.
And so, and that's what I was going to segue to next year, Merlin, was the idea that so in the last game we saw Imperium with sort of
Here
a
we go
mis
with Kakari on the top side,
sort of a
splitting with Mordekaiser on the
mismatch.
bot side, which I think is fine. But this is really just a time to kind of play it safe. Make sure you're not giving anything up and your wave management on the side lanes is adequate. But I think the next play is most likely getting ready for that dragon.
Right, and so like I was going to say, like in the last game we saw Imperium get
Paul,
that
how are
Baron.
you?
Might not.
Sorry, I was muted there for a second, guys. How are we doing, Paul?
Oh, no problem, Merlin. I was like, oh, that's whoops. Okay, so we got that audio. So I was gonna. So where I wanted to push that was so Imperium in the last game, we saw them sort of misplay that Baron, right? And there's such a almost in such a poor way that it ultimately did cost them the game. Do you think the mismanagement here per se is enough or opens the door for Dragons to come back? Or do you think that they still have enough in hand that like maybe losing that dragon and not getting soul still won't set them back too far?
I mean, I think this is heavily favored towards Imperium. Like, I can't tell you how big Kakari is on this Cassiopeia. 517, 4 item, including death cap with 4 damage items. What you really want is someone to be able to get on her and kill her, but but they don't really have that. They don't have an assassin. Azir can't get her, other than that like silly pick where she gave herself up on the top side. They have not had any success getting to Kakari. They don't have a flanker. They don't have anything really that can get on her. All right, so Baron's up, and they're going to rotate. Cash should already have been there, but she shreds Baron, and they don't have the vision, and it looks like they're just going to give it up, which I think is fine. But you need to like book to bot side and get the vision edge and everything on for Drake, unless you're kind of planning on team fight. Drake is up in 3 seconds, and you could have already been in position. As it is, they're going to have to fight first.
Shadow already below half, as is Flaming Thunder here. Fish and Valor setting up the soldiers, looking to finish him off. Ace in the hole coming out, just going to go right into Kakari. They are able to take the dragon right away. Uncle Ketamine taking down a whole lot. Kakari gone. First kill on the Pappy, but Flaming Thunder follows in short order. Badam Mori going to be gone next here, and now it's a 5-on-2 and the chase is on. They've got the soul, and they've got momentum on their side now.
That was an atrocious fight, and I'll say it. GP did work. GP got people
he has to admit
down.
it.
He got people low, right? Like Mordekaiser came in, and Shadow on Lee came in, and they got immediately chunked and were unable to kind of continue the fight. I feel like
Nemesis going under tower. Stepping in, rooted, kick coming out from Shadow, forces him under tower, stunned up, and Nemesis comes back here from the lamp. They're going to take another tower off this Merlin with the timers still over 10 seconds for Kakari and Thunder. They're just going to be able to push this wave in, and yeah, starting to mount a little bit of a comeback.
No, they've got an inhib here for sure. Kakari in that last fight flashed in to take on 3 champions And despite getting the stun off of his ult onto the Ashe, he couldn't 3v1. And that's really like not the champ you chose. You want to go to the back line and assassinate their carry. Go Echo if you want kind of a late game hyperscaler.
Oh, Batomori having a bad time there. Nemesis now just hanging out, waiting for the next engage. And so Ketamine going to step up even further, a little wide on the hook on Shadow. That clock in spawn now, 35 seconds or so here. They're going to just keep waiting it out. Nemesis stepping up. Glacial Prison lands on Kakari here. Ace in the hole going to go into Flaming Thunder. Oh, what did Emperor's Divide finding the double here? And I believe they'll be able to end the game on that.
Oh my god, that was a brilliant Emperor's Divide on Fish and Valor, the first one of the game that had, I think, any significant meaning. Yeah, nice game.
What
I don't know what
comeback.
happened. I felt like ImPerium was in like relatively good shape, and then just inted around the Dragon Pit. Didn't play like a front to back. I will say props to Donald Trump. I know he's an excellent player, and even though I don't like the GP pick, I have faith that he knows what he's doing. And in that last fight around Dragon, his chunking of the carries on ImPerium really made it difficult for them to go in. And I think they kind of got desperate trying to get that soul. So a little bit better macro, a little bit better soul control, I think would have made a big difference for ImPerium. Nemesis picking up that Drake to prevent soul was really, really big, that third Drake for his team. Just, excellent macro. Valexia, nice game. He was 3-1-12. You got to like the Ashe into the Kate. That's not an easy lane, but he really made the most of it. In terms of the next game, we do have a best of 5. They got one more shot. They got to shut something down. I'm still not a huge fan of the Sejuani. 2-7-12 is the end line. I thought the Azir was okay, but I got to believe Fish and Valor has some champs that maybe have more of an impactful early game. Like, obviously he scaled and does incredible amounts of damage in the late game and ultimately was effective. But I don't know. The 6-4-4 line isn't what I would expect from your carry mid laner in terms of kill participation. Yeah, I'm excited to see this third game. I feel like we've seen some good looks by ImPerium, and they have had shots and they have had chances, and they have just fallen a couple inches short in game 1 and 2. But this series is hot. I hope you guys stay with us, and I'm certainly looking forward to casting number 3 and maybe hopefully some more.
Yeah, we'll see what they've got. ImPerium Academy, for them, it comes all down to this. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with game number 3. Welcome back, everybody. Draft for Game 3 here between Dragons of the West and Imperium Academy. I'm Paul, joined by Merlin once again here. And Merlin, things are looking dire for Imperium Academy. They got to put something together here.
I mean, it is dire. They got a reverse sweep, and that is a tough thing to do mentally. But they have shown that they are capable. They have shown good macro and they play through Kakari. Kakari got massively hit on the Cassiopeia, but it's always a couple small errors late in the game. And let me tell you, there's no room for a couple small errors late in the game. It's only one error. You get one shot. And if you screw it up, they just run down mid lane in the game.
So we saw that. I would say we saw that on back-to-back Baron plays too. Here as they're doing their ban, they're continuing the bans here. But yeah, 2 Baron plays in a row. Maybe they're just better off giving Baron and then playing off that. But we'll have to see how this one goes.
And I hate to put it on Kakari, but it was Kakari getting eaten by a Kassadin in game 1 that kind of really turned the corner, and him flashing in the Dragon Pit in game 2 to try and 3v1 that really kind of spelled doom. Looking at picks and bans, we've got the Taric, Malphite, Ashe instead of the Olaf. So this opens up the Olaf, but Imperium do have a sub. Their jungler had a little bit of trouble, some connection issues, so it's possible that Olaf isn't in his kit, and they're able to now ban the Ashe, while they will most likely first pick that Caitlyn. Sivir is banned, and that is their go-to, Pappy Buck's go-to bot laner, but I assume this is just a fairly standard blue side cape pick. There it is.
And you gotta love seeing that again. I think it went really well for them last game. I think maybe a little bit maybe they would have won a little bit more on Pappy Buck, but ultimately, I mean, it was enough. So, and I think if you have the chance to take a B1 Kate with Ashe already off the board, you just have to do it.
Yeah, I don't know what the second answer to a Kate is. Certainly, Ashe survives in lane and gets the CS and does all right, transitions into the mid game, and is always relevant with the ult. Instead, we see the Kai'Sa. Not in love with this. Kai'Sa's kind of short range going into a Kate. Bursty, but I feel like that's not necessarily going to come into play depending on what support pick we see. It looks like Nautilus on the part of Imperium, which probably means Thresh on the part of Dragons. And I feel like this will play slightly worse than the Ashe lane. But certainly Kai'Sa's a late game scaler. Everybody's picking scaling these days. There's no one who's just going for like lane dominance objectives and a 25-minute win.
I was thinking that too, because we've had 2 really long years. They almost both went to 40 minutes. I was like, is it even I was thinking like, no, I don't think it's even possible for any of them to do like a 20-minute Baron into like a 24 or 28-minute Soul. Like, it's just not possible with these comps anymore. And we're gonna see the Darius there picked at B2.
This is what I've wanted Dragons to do all along. This Darius is a nightmare. And we have played against this team. We've played against this Darius 3-4 times. We have counterpicked him every time, and he is tough to beat, even against like the Quinn and the Mordekaiser and different champs that kind of do all right either in lane or late game. He still finds ways to kind of get online in the mid-late game and really have like a huge impact. He did well on GP last game. I wasn't unhappy to see him getting some crits down with those barrels, but this Darius is going to be something else. He's going to be in your face. He's got the strongest level 1 of almost any champ in the game. Donald Trump, I'm super excited. Thank you for bringing out this Darius. I've been waiting for this one. On the flip side, I do remember the Imperium jungler. This jungler does have an incredible number of Nunu games. My team has a Nunu main, and when we play them, either we ban Nunu or they ban Nunu, depending on who has first pick. Nunu is really strong, received some buffs in recent patches, giving him a little bit of AP scaling that he didn't have previously. And he loves losing lanes. So that bot lane, Kai'Sa Nautilus, is probably going to get pushed in by the Kate, and Nunu really comes in fast with that snowball. So I think this is an interesting pick. It is probably necessitated by the fact that they had to switch junglers, but will make for a very different sort of laning phase. One where The ganks can kind of come with more frequency and have a little bit more CC, but also a little bit less damage. We've got bans coming out targeting Kakari. They're going to save last pick. The Oriana is banned. The Cassiopeia is banned. And we will see what they put him on. But they will save last pick for him. They know that he's the carry. They know that they try and funnel the gold through to him. And we'll see what we've got. I guess we also have top lane. I don't know where the Lissandra's going necessarily.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily love the Lissandra pick. I'm gonna have to see this whole comp rounded out because I like the new pick. In the last game we saw Shadow. You know, you have a squishier option that can really just lay in the damage and provide you a lot of interesting setup. Ultimately, it didn't pan out super well. The death sentences just put him down, right? But so I'm curious to see now. Sandra new paired. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. And now from the other side, at least we're seeing a Caitlyn Zyra bot lane. Another one fairly common. Another long range support with CC ability. And they're gonna finish it off there. Maybe they're memeing. I don't know if they're actually gonna put it out in a solo. They're not. They're gonna finish off with a Vladimir.
Yeah, I love the Zyra. You don't counter a hook champ with another hook champ. That just makes everything. That just defuses the tension. You counter the hook champ with an enchanter that deals damage. So as long as Zyra never gets hooked, she's gonna have a field day with a melee champ who has to walk up to proc Targons and I think can kind of lay down the damage. Ooh, interesting. Kakari's decided that he's just gonna take over and go for a little Kassadin here in the mid lane. I think that obviously we saw Fish of Valor pull it out and it's got great late game scaling. I think it'll do fine into Vladimir. Vladimir doesn't have a huge amount of early game pressure. I feel like of this comp, the only thing I don't understand is the Lissandra. Like, Lissandra is like a big question mark into Darius. Like, yeah, I know she's got some CC. She can self-ult. She's hard to dive. But I think you got to be really careful to survive level 1. Darius has one of the strongest level 1s in the game, and I know she can farm from range, but I'm really worried for her at this point.
Yeah, and you hit on that. This Darius is just gonna be an absolute powerhouse to deal with. And I don't think it's the answer. It's one of those situations, right, where like maybe it's possible you overthink the pick, where you're like, well, Lissandra could do these really interesting things. Maybe you just go with just chalk up to an even lane or take on someone a little bit more bruisey. Like I think they might have overthought some of these picks, like just combined together. I think they might have too many things going on that they need to make work instead of just you could put a tank topside, put a mage mid lane, and just go front to back. But now they have to coordinate a lot of interesting parts in a game that ultimately they literally can't afford to lose or they're going home.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to just see. I just don't know how that Lissandra's going to play out. I do think that Vladimir is almost ungankable. Like, he is so difficult to get a hold of with his pool. It's not impossible, but you really want someone with CC or slows. Maybe if he's pushing Kassadin under turret, and you would expect him to push Kassadin under turret. But I've definitely got my eyes on bot side for Nunu to gank. That's where he's got to spend his time. I think that's what makes the most sense. You know, it's kind of funny. Kakari actually mains Vigar, and I almost think if it weren't for the cane, maybe you can't play Vigar because of the cane. But it does look like Dragons is looking for kind of front to back fights. Maybe Vlad can get in a flank, but in those fights, Vigar actually does pretty well.
That would have been really interesting, and just to hit the same beat again here, that would have been another infinite scale or another scaling champ to just keep playing for that late game. But yeah, like you said, I think that Kane just sort of preventing that. I did want to touch quick and ask your thoughts. So we talked about in the first game that they had to be sure they would play that 4-1 split properly or a 1-3-1 with the cast in. Do you think ImPerium Academy have what it takes kind of to make sure they can set out that Kassadin and then play around 1-3-1, or did the first 2 games and what you know about them to this point, does that give you confidence that they can pull that sort of thing off?
I think that Kakari knows how to sit in a side lane. Okay. So we ran up against Kakari's, I think it was his Kassadin. But yeah, they definitely put it in the side lane and ran it all the way up. The thing about that I think was maybe not played as precisely as it could have been by Dragons is that you really want the Kassadin to go all the way to turret. Like a lot of champs, you push a wave halfway down towards your opponent's second tower, and then you kind of back off because you don't want to get into a position where you can get picked. But that is not true of Kassadin. Kassadin takes the extra wave and gets it to turret and starts banging away because he's one of the most mobile champions in the game. And if you see two people coming from behind you, you can just go through the opponent's base. But you've got Rift Walk on a 4-second cooldown at level 11, and it's just really not that hard to get away from someone kind of collapsing on you as you hit turrets. And Fish and Valor was really a lot more conservative than that. He kept rotating. He kept letting waves get picked up by the opposing, I think it was top laner who was matching him at the time. And I think Kakari will go ahead and pick up that extra wave and kind of push extra deep. Yeah, I think the lane to watch for is top. Like, if the Darius takes over and is, no one can lane against him in a side lane, I think that is a solid single lane win condition. And I feel like it's going to be super volatile, and hopefully Nunu can spend some time topside just making sure that Lissandra gets through those early levels okay and gets to 6. Otherwise, I feel like the Caitlyn Zyra could also get a lot done against this Nautilus. They have finally counter picked instead of comfort picked, and I think Uncle Ketamine has shown some proficiency on hook champions and should be able to land that Zyra snare and really get to work on that Betamore, who has had a lot of deaths over the first 2 matches. Definitely picked up some deaths warding and in team fights. So I'm looking forward to the match. I think Kassadin will actually do fine, but I don't know whether Kakari's going to get to level 16, which is the win condition, is one of the win conditions on their side. Secondary win condition for ImPerium, they definitely have the ability to get objectives. Nunu has one of the best smites in the game. And if they can get pressure, probably not for the first or second Drake, but once we kind of break down out of lanes, he should be able to kind of compete for objectives. I would expect the first Drakes to go Dragon's way because Caitlyn and Vlad will most likely be able to push. So I really feel like Nunu has a lot to gain if he can focus at Darius and not get double killed.
Yeah, so certainly the deck is stacked against ImPerium Academy. They have to win this one and the next 2 if they want to make it out of here and move on to play Sand Shadows in the promotion relegation game. But with that, we're going to cut to a short break here with the Spectre delay, get synced up, and then we'll meet you on the Rift in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, here to Summoner's Rift. We've got Dragons of the West up 2-0 on Imperium Academy. And can Imperium Academy bring it back? You know who is back? Myself. I'm Paul, along with Merlin once again. And Merlin, what's this game plan have to start to look like here for Imperium Academy if they want to pull off maybe the impossible?
All right, I think we have to start with the underdogs. They have dropped 2. They need to reverse sweep in order to come out on top. And we have Kakari on Kassadin. They need to get him to level 16. They need to spend a lot of time mid. He's up against a Vlad. Ooh, it looks like we have a gank on the Vlad.
Ooh, Efficient Valor gonna for a second dodge everything, but then gets hit by the dredge line, gets caught in the corner and able to get out at least with, and did have to burn Ghost there, but not able to land the kill.
Not just Ghost. Not just Ghost. Let me tell you, Vlad doesn't really like taking pool level 1. Like, that means he has like nothing to harass Kakari with until the 7th minion. So just a very strange bit of inting by Fish and Valor, posturing mid lane aggressively while Nautilus rotates through for the flank. Good job, Batamori, hitting the hook. I will say the one good thing is that he did not burn Flash. He did burn Ghost, and he did have to take a bad skill for his first skill, but he did not burn Flash, and that keeps him certainly still in the game. Ooh, interestingly, they swapped Darius to the mid lane. Oh my gosh.
Oh, the gank for the bush on the bot side. Excuse me, not gank, but at least the dive onto him. And oof, Ketamine gonna have to flash and get pretty rocked down here. And Batamori use Ignite.
Nicely done. Nothing like a little bit of cheese in game 3. Oh, lands the hook as
Batamori is
well.
a machine. That's 3 in a row. He's feeling himself this game at least, and they're going to need that sort of thing to keep up if they want to bring this one back. But yet, we can return to your last point there. Yeah, so the lane swap going to come in once again, and so does this end up suiting either side particularly better or worse than what we originally thought we were going to have?
Oh, this is much better for Dragons. You do not want to have like a 0 pressure champ in the early game against the Kassadin. Darius can still kind of zone, and he does fine. In fact, it's so oppressive that they're going to switch the Lissandra back because they picked this. Lissandra counter picks the Darius, and Vlad really like does nothing. He would have done nothing kind of level 1, but I think that this is a fine play. Kakari's going to miss out on a couple CS, but I think that he's got innate passive with that decreases magic damage. I think makes sense. Unfortunately, Donald Trump is kind of really getting on Flaming Thunder. Right as he gets back to lane, goes ahead and half healths him. Here we have a great gank on the bot side. Look at this new nuke.
Yeah, Ketamine doesn't have flash. Going to get Dredgeline under tower. Pappy Bucket and chunked down too. Uses the heal. Ketamine taking down a bunch, but Valexia is the first blood on the board for Ketamine, and they get out of dodge.
They took way too many tower shots, and they went really, really deep, and they had really bad target selection. Batamore went on the Zyra, who was flashless. I understand why. I don't hate it. But the rest of the team was all in on the Kate. In the meantime, we've got a little bit of a gank mid, but they're really safe there, Lissandra.
And so Fish and Valor now, yeah. So they reset. I'm trying to keep these lane swaps straight, so I apologize to our viewers being like, does this guy know what's going on here? But so now Kakari's back top side with the Darius here, and Fish and Valor is returned to the mid lane. Here's a repeat gank here in the mid lane again from Nemesis.
Yeah, but those ganks are really like useless. Like
wasting time.
Yeah, Flaming Thunder has TP and Flash, and Vlad has no follow-up CC. Here we go with another gank bot. It should work again, but the team is really far away.
Ketamine's still level 2 here. This has to be a little bit worrisome here if they're going to have to keep dealing with Dizzy setting up a camp and some Coleman chairs down in the bot side.
I mean, I definitely think ganking that bot side is the way to go. Here we have a gank on mid, but this almost never works.
You're going to have to go into Fish and Valor, and he's just going to be able to pull away, it looks like. Dizzy, even if he roots him up, not going to be able to finish the job probably. Ketamine, though, finished off on the bot side. Dredge line landing once again. I don't think Batamori's missed one yet this game. Did you see Knight there as well? Kakari literal one here. That's going to be a flash and a quick kill here. And Darius has his first on the board.
Yeah, the Darius, we gotta worry about that. So I do like the repeat focus on the ketamine. Uncle Ketamine on Zyra, super squishy. Levels down. If you can land a hook, you can get the kill. Um, so I think that that's good target focus, and they're doing well. The Kai'Sa has a little bit of a CS lead into Kate, given how much of an early game champion Kate is. That's pretty impressive. Um, they have got to keep Kakari away from Darius. And the way you do that is by kind of rotating ahead of the game. Like they TP Kakari to mid lane and he farms that wave and then he needs to go top because you know that you're going to get the Darius to match. And it's tough, but because I don't think he got the wave under tower, but Darius has a huge amount of pressure. And he's already got a phage with that first kill, and he will dumpster this Kassadin, although Kassadin did hit 6, so it's possible that he will be able to get away.
And Fish and Valor already, like you said, level 6. Flaming Thunder is not. Dizzy does not have the ultimate yet either, nor does Nemesis. Now we're seeing DT stepping up into Kakari, able to at least chunk him down for now. Q gonna try to get him close to half health here, as now we see Dizzy setting up vision and potential control of this dragon here. Nunu's got so much power early with effectively 2 smites here as disposed of with the consume. Here comes Nemesis, going to take a look at the dragon, maybe look for a play here, not able to steal it away. And now here comes the rotation. Batamori finds the kill. Everyone will reset and they'll get a dragon and 1 down.
Oh, and it looked like we got a gank mid with the Lissandra.
Oh, Darius here caught out, trying to go back in the lane. And nice rotation from Flaming Thunder. Fish and Valor still topside, just free farming, but that'll put another one on the board for them, and a 3-2 kill lead.
Yeah, I don't understand why Kane wants to go in for Drake against that particular comp. We've got Nunu, we've got Kai'Sa, we've got Nautilus, there's CC, a mix of CC and damage. I just don't think that it makes any sense to send your jungler in there to try and steal. It's just first Drake, let it go. Because what happened was you ended up giving the kill there, and then because Darius kind of partially rotated down, he ended up dying. And you gave back kind of your 1.5k gold lead with the Drake. So I don't know if that rotation makes any sense. If Kane wants the dragon, he's got to get priority bot lane like he has now and go ahead and get aggressive and take it. As it is, Nunu, super good at taking objectives, has walked topside and is working on Herald right now. While Kane looks like he's invading the blue, but he's going to get spotted out. Let's see if Kassadin rotates, because
yeah, there's sort of posture. Now, Nemesis caught in a weird spot. He's forcing it once again. He sticks around, goes right under the objective, gets it. Umbro Trespass going to go on to Valexia. Root not going to find anything here. Flash has to come out because he had already burned the dash over the wall and gets out of there at least. Nemesis, I think, getting a little greedy, but this time gets away with it, only burning the flash.
I still don't think blue's worth flash. And,
no, I don't think so either. That's way too much.
And the information, like Nunu's taking your blue, you didn't get anything there. You just lost flash. There's nothing gained there. Here we see another ineffectual gank on Vlad coming up.
Ooh, yeah, here comes Dizzy here, gank topside. Flaming Thunder going to be bursted down here. Fish and Valor here, maybe trying to get out. Ultimate use here, has to flash away. Is able to get out here. And so both junglers really playing this one fast and loose compared to some of the plays we saw in the last 2 games.
I agree. I really think that he needs to not spend that time topside. Again, he's getting baited in. Kane's here. Kane is really squishy, but the Vlad is like deceptive. It always looks like you can kill Vlad, but it's often the case that you cannot. In the meantime, let's just look at CS. Kakari's down 15 to 20 to the Darius. Lissandra's down 30. This has been a pretty rough lane for the solo laners. I really think they just have to kind of focus this bot lane. Kassadin needs to push and roam, and that's where Nunu needs to keep spending his ganks. I know he's gotten down there once or twice, but he needs to keep hammering that home. Batamori's hitting those hooks, and they just need to keep putting time into that lane.
You see DT returning the mid lane here. Kakari pop up. Now it's a 3-on-1 though. Flashes away, but I don't think that's going to get him out of there. It does not. And that'll be a kill here going on to Flaming Thunder, bringing him to a grand total of 2. And now they'll drop the Rift Arrow in the mid lane here. Fish and Valor coming down to answer. Let's see if they're ultimately able to get the tower. Doesn't look like it. They'll be able to just auto that away. And I don't know how much I actually ultimately like that here, Merlin, because everyone just gets a little piece of the action, but ultimately nobody's getting a good enough chunk here when they're all kind of behind on CS. Now, I don't love this, though. Fish and Valor stepping up here, channeling away here. Nemesis looking to join. Now it's a 3-on-2 as Dizzy makes the turn back here. Biggest snowball ever does not land here. Ultimate coming out. Here's Absolute Zero. They're able to get away from it. Umbro Trust pass used. The Fish and Valor finds the kill. Batamori, though, made the rotation, and they're going to have to go 2 for 1 on that.
Good rotation. Batamori saving that play. Excellent job by the support. Kind of getting that roam out of there first. Like, otherwise it's just a 1 for 0, but he really kind of turns that into a 2 for 1. Excellent play. I still think this game is super close. Could kind of go in any direction.
Valencia just eviscerated their Ketamine with the ultimate, and Pappy Buck doubling down, and they're just going to kill him straight up under tower here and just keep funneling into Pappy Buck.
I don't even think Pappy Buck got an assist on that.
No. Oh, no, you were entirely right. Whoa.
That was Zyra. Well, Kaisa got low in lane. And
that's true.
Again, like short range, and I still think nicely done by Ketamine to kind of pick up that kill. But just not gold onto the ADC, but good enough to get you a little bit of Drake control. At least they're kind of starting it up early. I think they could fight for it, but I guess they're just going to let that one go.
Yeah, that's like one situation where I don't think I would have minded Batamori at least stepping up and maybe trying something, at least seeing if you can bait them into thinking there's a bigger rotation coming. They opt not to and instead pass over the first Drake of the game, which makes it, or tells us now that this will be an Infernal. So Dragon number 3 going to be up in 4.5 minutes. Infernal. And as we sit here about to cross the 13-minute mark, we now can look at a 1K gold lead here for the side of Dragons of the West.
Yep, not too bad. I want to point out, Kakari built Rod of Ages. I do like Rod of Ages on Kassadin's, and he kind of just comes online with that single item. So when Fish and Valor took that, he built Seraphs first, and he kind of keeps that kind of squishy build. But Kakari's going to have some size. He's not going to go down, and I'm sure eventually he'll build Zonia's. But he is going to be a little thicker than you expect. This is kind of my favorite Kassadin build. You go Tier, you go Rod, and then you go Seraphs. But I think he's going to go toe-to-toe with this build, like a lot better with Darius than he would have if he kind of built a squishier build. Darius cannot really like combo him out. He's going to have plenty of time to ult away if Darius tries to go in. And here we see a fight over blue. But he got it.
Yeah, Nemesis actually getting away with it this time here. Absolute Zero coming out. Umbro Trespass going to follow up. Try to keep him healed. He is transformed here, I believe, on the roster. I can actually tell there. And then now we're seeing here the trades coming back. DT moving in. Teleport coming behind. Flaming Thunder going to immediately be found in a trap. Darius stepping up. Going to battle the Lissandra, but now the whole team's there, and he's just going to run and try to pick his poison of who gets the kill ultimately here. And it will go onto Kakari.
Nice job rotating. I feel like this Kayn just over aggressive in the jungle. Like it's not like ImPerium doesn't have the timer on that blue. They were there competing for it. Here we go in the mid.
Yeah, Dizzy once again just walking on a Pappy Buck. Pappy Buck just doesn't do enough damage quite yet to get him to keep Dizzy off and down. Kakari can just step up, put damage on Ketamine. Here comes Nemesis once again. And now Valencia and Batamori going to be able to chunk down bot towers. This whole time Fish and Valor has been putting a dent in top tower.
Yep, it looks like Fish and Valor is not going to get that turret, though. And he takes an insane number of turret shots. I know he heals, but I guess he was just trying to really push for that first turret, but instead it goes to Imperium's bot side, and they get their first lead of the game. 600 gold lead. Here
Here
we
comes
go
the
for
return. Oh, not able to get the knock up there. Obviously, Ross could pop him airborne, but can't land it here. And yeah, Fish and Valor finally just able to heal back up here. They really want this tower though down as Dizzy is hovering nearby.
Yeah, they don't have the waves for it, but they'll get it eventually. Cassidin rotating mid. I wonder whether he will try and no, looks like he's rotating bot to kind of match the Darius, which I think is fine. As the pending gaming, the Lexia Batamore bot lane goes ahead and gets back into lane to cover that mid lane. It's a good game so far. We got a 3-1-2 Lissandra to go with the 2-1-3 Cassidin. Darius at 1-3. I swear he's still got the potential to kind of pop off in the mid game, but at this point he's still working on Triforce, still working on his first item, not really ahead of the curve in any way. And here we have Kakari in the side lane. I love Cassidin in the side lane. Just give him all that CS, let him get the levels.
And do you think, I was saying, I just want to touch on that again. So do you think DT still has more than enough time to get this Darius online and ultimately be a difference maker here? Or is that window quickly closing, if not already closed, for him to just chunk people down?
Oh, no, he's fine. I mean, you would think that Darius doesn't have, like, late game impact and that he really needs, like, those early kills to scale. But that is not necessarily the case. Oh, I swear that.
Whoa. Ketamine. I'm going to call that bold. I'm going to say stepping up there when you clearly... Oh, actually, I guess maybe he wouldn't have seen them depending on when that control word hit. But at minimum, just bold stepping up in the lane. DT now looking for a one-on-one with Kakari here. They're going to push in the mid lane as well as we're going to keep swapping back and forth here. Biggest snowball ever coming in. Not going to find it. Neither's the Dreadline here. Fish and Valor now here in a 4-on-4. Whoa, the root lands. A whole bunch from Ketamine here. Ace in the hole, not able to finish off. Now they're going to pop Rift Herald in the mid lane. Fish and Valor taking down Dizzy here. Rift Herald going to chunk down the mid tower. Here comes the rotation, from Darius. And at least they're able to get the mid tower down. And now they can start to set up here for the first Infernal Drake of the game.
Yeah, I think that it was... well played on the part of Dragons to go ahead and drop the Herald to ensure that they could pick up that mid lane. I think the counter kill on the Kayn was fine. And here we've got this dragon fight with no real tanks on either side. Let's see how this goes. This one's anyone's, I think. We've got Nunu snowballing in.
Dizzy coming in here. Shutdown, though, going to happen as well. And DT going to be taken down. They're able to find the dragon here, but can they turn the fight? Regardless, Valexia is on board next, and that's going to be the next kill. Pappy Buck here in trouble here. Nemesis trying with all of his damage here. Kakari one shot. Pappy Buck able to do it. Can they turn it? Nemesis looking for more here. Batamore going to try to get out, as is Dizzy. And so the two tanks will go on the run. Ace in the hole, not enough, and they'll narrowly escape with their lives. Maybe called it too soon. Nemesis
not
here.
Dizzy.
No,
oh,
Nemesis.
He should have waited.
Ooh, Nemesis might actually... Oh, Nemesis. Ooh, a little bit greedy. Has to trade 1-for-1 there. Probably could have just waited that out, I think. They would have gotten it otherwise.
Yeah, I think Nunu's super happy about that. I mean, why not just wait for the minions to hop under? There's no way he can run through you. The only way he wins is if you take 2 sure shots. I don't know what he's thinking on that one. It was a pretty even fight. I guess Dragons came out on top. Kakari was on the Caitlyn, but lacks the damage with his single item to really get the job done. He has not fully scaled. Still waiting for him to kind of pick up a few more items. Caitlyn is sitting on Rapid Fire Cannon and Infinity Edge. Definitely got some size. We've got Minimune and Ginsu's on the Kai'Sa, who did an incredible amount of damage last time. So I think doing well from that direction. I will say I don't really like Kakari sidling against the Darius. He's in need of ganks and he can't kind of push the lane. So yeah, he's getting the CS and he's getting the levels, but he's not getting the priority. And a priority is one of the reasons why you want Kassadin in a side lane because it puts pressure on the map. And without that pressure on the map, Darius is free to kind of push into mid lane and kind of out rotate you, which is embarrassing as a Kassadin since you're the most mobile champion league here.
So with that, now they will sit here on the side of Dragons of the West with roughly a 2k gold lead. They have 2 more towers and 2 dragons. Baron is up here, and Dizzy and Kakari are going to get started here for the side of ImPerium Academy. We've seen them get Baron's timing again here, not able to fully utilize them, but this time around, I don't know that they're going to have enough in time before they're matched here in the pit. Looks like they might narrowly be able to do it. Now here comes the answer here. They're able to slay it here, but at what cost? Fight breaking out here. Ketamine destroyed up the map. They don't have Fish and Valor here as part of the fight. Nemesis, adios, gone 2, and they'll take 2 in Baron.
Okay, so I don't know what Dragons expected to have happen when it was a 4v5 and your Vladimir's bot lane, but Batamore immediately flash ulted Ketamine, and she died with ult up and probably all her spells up and ignite up. It was immediately followed up with Flaming Thunder, who has completed Ludens and is pretty strong, and she just evaporated. So that's Baron plus 2 kills. I feel like this is ImPerium's recipe, and we've got a gank coming, but it's hard to gank Alessandra with a Vlad who's got no CC. So this is interesting. We're kind of in the mid-late game, and ImPerium have a team fight comp, and they're playing it well. What do you do with a team fight comp? You posture around objectives and force opponents to take fights. And Dragons have a split comp. They can team fight, but the Vlad is not online. He has a Spellbinder, just finished Death Cap. Now he's probably kind of much better positioned to be able to do team fight, to do a little bit more team fighting, but they're really like kind of more of a side lane pressure. So if you're going to give Baron, then leave the Vladimir in the side lane and let him threaten the turret and get the farm and levels and XP and gold. But if you're going to contest the Baron, you need to pull him out earlier because he's got to be there at the start of the fight. And right now, it is okay for you to send your Vlad to the side lane. You want to stop sending people to side lanes when you're giving up inhibitors, which, you know, may happen shortly. But until that point, you can kind of still give stuff up and maybe not lose too much.
Kakari gonna just narrowly avoid the pull there. Fish and Valor stepping up, but the rest of the team hasn't joined him just yet here, setting up the flank. Nemesis gonna flash in, get the airborne, but gonna just get deleted off the map here. But here comes Fish and Valor though, alone in the back line. That's not something you want to hear when you're against a Vladimir. Batamori gonna block Ace in the hole. Fish and Valor though now gets to have his way onto Kakari. Flaming Thunder down the mid lane, gonna have to run for his life, and there's a positive fight again. And I swear we've seen this script before here, Merlin. Baron captured, and then all of a sudden things turn around for Dragons of the West. I don't know. I feel like I've seen this movie before.
We have seen it before, and it's all about the itemization of Fish and Valor. So he's got Spellbinder, 120 AP, same amount as Death Cap, 10% movement speed, and then a buff that will give you for 4 seconds extra AP compounded again by the Death Cap. So, like I said, it's fine to keep Fish and Valor in side lanes, and it's fine to give objectives away until you're like at the point where you can kind of turn fights. But Fish and Valor is there, and they should basically just keep continuing this strategy of having Fish and Valor kind of in side lanes and then flank and join fights.
TP now coming down bot side here. They're going to try to get down Fish and Valor. Kakari and Flaming Thunder are there. They've invested a lot, and they need this one to pay off. Look at that heal, though. Kakari still searching, going to go ahead really low, rooted down. Can Fish and Valor pull it off? He can't. So at the expense of TP and a whole bunch of time, they are able to get the kill.
The kill's okay, but I wish they would continue to push. Like, I know Kassadin's low, but you've got your squishies kind of coming to support the lane, and if you can just like get one more assassination, then you can probably start getting objectives. Because really, a kill without objectives, pretty useless. You're not really getting anything done. Ooh, I think this is a pick.
Yeah, they're gonna look Umbro Trespass coming out, maybe trying to get at least a Ketamine and the rest of the team here. Ketamine trying to save his friend, but maybe gonna get caught out as well. Had to burn the ultimate there. So Umbral Trespass and Stranglethorns used there. I believe they'll be close to back online for next fight, but at least a couple picks here going over to Imperium Academy.
They are short cooldowns, but Kane is not supposed to get picked. He's got incredible mobility. Oh, is he built Blue Kane?
I'll have to get another look. I believe it is Ross, only because I think I did see the knockup in the last fight.
Right,
We can
right. So Blue
double
Kane's
check that.
squishy. Blue Kane's squishy. And I don't even know if that's the right build into this comp. I mean, you're trying to delete the Kai'Sa, but you can't get the Lissandra, you can't get the Cassidy, you can't get the Nautilus, and you can't get the Nunu. I assumed he was going red form, so that he could just kind of frontline and be annoying forever. Because, man, if Red Kane isn't annoying forever, I don't know who is. But it does look like Red Kane, right? No.
Yeah, it is. It is Ross Red King.
Okay, so yeah, I guess I was surprised he evaporated so fast because I'm used to Red Kane's, you know, really doing a lot of damage. But I guess he's 185, so the Kane may just be super far behind and difficult to get relevant in the game. I do like that Dragons is keeping up the split push, forcing Cassidy to not join the team, and then rotating for fights. This is exactly what you want to do if you're Dragons. You want to jam the side waves, and then you want to get in for an objective, knowing that that Cassidy can potentially TP. Oh no, his TP's down. So Baron's up, and this is free. Cassidy will not be able to join until it's too late. Let's see if they decide to half-heartedly try and contest and get themselves killed, or whether they let it go.
So they have it warded, so they were able to see that they did get it started. Fish and Valor here. Now here comes Valexia into the back line. Nemesis finds the first kill here. Fish and Valor just going to take a couple members with him. It gets actually destroyed there by Kakari on the roam. Flaming Thunder here trying to stay back and kite. Excuse me, with Kakari. Umbro Trespass likely going to find one, make it two with the help of Ace in the hole here. And so now they've got their choice, and they'll turn on the Baron.
Yeah, nicely done. I mean, they did bring the Cassidy up, but again, it was kind of late. And Valexia had a very strange Kai'Sa ult that put her like right in the middle of four of Dragon's champions. And it did not immediately cost him his life, but that positioning is not where you want to be as Kai'Sa at this stage in the game. You want to stay at kind of at maximum distance and hit the person in front of you. It's not like they have a tank and your damage is going onto somebody useless who's not going to be able to dish out. Your front line for Dragons is Vlad, and if Kai'Sa is killing Vlad, you're really happy with that. That takes a lot of damage off the table. I will also say Donald Trump also got a lot of work done in that fight, getting melee and ult off and picking up, I think, at least one kill, if not two, but just generally being kind of effective in the fight. Let's see. Next objective is Dragon, which is up in 10 seconds. And I don't, given that this is Dragon Soul for Dragons, I suspect they're going to want to contest for this one. Let's see.
And so now we're going to see Fish and Valor starting to move in here with Ketamine. Nemesis hanging by. Going to go right into the pit. Does have double buffs, so at least will help with a little bit slow and healing. Fish and Valor going to look at Dizzy. Dizzy trying to get in. Pop the absolute zero, but his health is absolute zero. They've got Inferno Soul, and they're going to turn back to the mid lane.
I actually don't hate an attempt at a steal, but the team is just too hard to get through. But Cassidy was not with the team, and they couldn't take a straight-up fight. So now they got to defend the Baron down one man, which I think is a tall order. Oh, they go in.
Ooh, Flaming Thunder going to have to pop the stopwatch. They're doing a whole bunch of damage, though. In the meantime, Umbro Trespass on the back of it. Is it enough? Not so far. DT finding a kill. Batamori 1v3 here. And with those long death timers here, they can put a real dent in base and potentially end the game.
Okay, Paul. There are these things called turrets, and they help you defend. I don't know why you would want to take a fight outside your turrets. Like, it's clear they're going for the siege. They're probably going to dive. I feel like you can just wait and let them force the dive, and you can try and counter-engage, and that would give you a better opportunity to win the fight. Now, quite frankly, Flaming Thunder's Engage was really good. She caught a number of people in there in stun and got a lot of damage done. I just wish she'd waited a few seconds and done it when the turret was hitting them as well. And that wombo combo might have bought them a few extra minutes.
Yeah, and ultimately with that, that'll put this series away as a 3-0 here. So really impressive showing here from Dragons of the West here. They're going to move on to play Sand Shadows here in the promotion relegation game here. And just pretty much sheer dominance here, right? Like despite the fact that Nemesis, I would say, had a less than stellar game, a little bit overly ambitious throughout. I mean, we saw a couple fights like fought for first dragon in a sort of obscure way and fought for that blue buff in an obscure way, but still able to pull things together, and these counter Baron plays really paid off for them.
Absolutely. I think this was like a really fun series to cast. Dragons, I think, earned the win and played super strong, and they deserve this promotion match against Sand Shadows. And quite frankly, I'll be cheering them on. They've been an excellent opponent all season long. Classy team, and I hope they push up into that next division. But I want to give huge props out to ImPerium. They went toe to toe with Dragons. Those first two games in particular were balanced on a nice edge. Could easily have tipped one way or the other. It didn't end up falling their way. Which means that they will stay in the current division. And as a member of that division, I gotta say, I'm excited about continuing to play against ImPerium. They are a fun team to play against, and I think they really played their hearts out, and just came up a little bit short.
Yeah, by no stretch of the imagination was this like an absolutely dominant performance, right? Like game 1 or game 2, very conceivably, even both could have gone to Imperium Academy instead. But some really nice outplays really late when it mattered for Dragons of the West. And while that third game, they were able to put things together a little bit more closely. Ultimately, they're able to pull out the 3-0 here. And so we're going to bring in one of the players here from the winning team here, Mr. Fish and Valor. So we'll be getting him in here in just a second and talk to him about their winning efforts here. And just, as we do here, shout out to everybody, behind the scenes, Ewok on the production here, Yar Carl and everybody behind the scenes, and everyone who really puts these entire seasons together as we get ready for finals here. Hey, Fish and Valor, congratulations on the great win tonight.
Thanks so much.
So I'll ask you the first question here, and then obviously me and Merlin can't see each other, so we'll just have to verbally pass the baton back and forth. So those first two games, you guys were able to put together really smart counter Baron plays. So when you were talking with the team, both times you lost those Barons, what were some of the things you guys talked about, and how did you keep your composure to ultimately pull out both wins?
Honestly, they're probably just misplays on our end, but the second Baron, we were gonna let them have it and take the soul for sure. But otherwise, in the first one, I don't think we really felt confident enough to do anything. On Azir, I wasn't really doing much at that point, and I mean, it was lucky that the second one worked out so well and we won that fight.
Sounds all right. What made you pick Azir in that match? Is he just like a go-to safe blind? And how did you feel against the Cassiopeia?
Honestly, it was really awful, and I didn't enjoy it. But I felt like the Azir is probably a good champ there. It's just I probably didn't perform as well as I would want to. I've had a couple okay Azir games in the past, but I definitely wouldn't put that one up there.
I feel like Azir does better into like big frontline comps that you can just like smash on tanks rather than kind of mobile assassin-y champs like the Lee Sin. But you did have a great ultimate at the end of that game, right? Where you picked off 2 carries with 1 ult.
Yeah, that was like the only one big ult. I was about to do the same thing in the middle of the game, and I got caught by Mord ult mid-air.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, which was kind of the problem. I couldn't really do any flashy plays without getting just Mord ulted in one hit.
Right on. Tell me about that Cassiding game. How'd you feel that went? I mean, it was a little strange for me because you had such a strong start with like early successful gank against the Orianna and kind of a lot of pressure. But then it actually fell off in the mid game where I kind of expected you to accelerate.
I think I'm gonna be honest. Probably the first 2 games were probably the worst games we played all season, and we just got away with it. I don't think we deserved to win either game, and I don't think we would have won either game if other mistakes weren't made. But yeah, the middle of that first game was really awful. But I mean, the end of when you hit Cassidon at the end of the game, you saw what happens. We got lucky with that one fight in the base that we should have lost the game on, and then the pick was crucial for us to even try at the game.
Right. It was a good pick though, right onto the Oriana. You had a pink ward there, right?
Yeah, I did, and I was kind of like asking for permission to kind of try to do something crazy, and it worked out, I guess. For my team.
I think, yeah, I mean, I loved it. I mean, I think that's what you needed to do. The Oriana is like a 5v5 team fight team, and I feel like you bought into that and attempted to kind of 5v5 over and over again. But it's really a hard game as Cassidon to kind of get on the back line and get out.
I think another big part was we let them play Taric, even though we knew they were looking to play Taric. And we probably did so much, like an unbelievable amount of damage into the Taric invincibility, and just makes the game almost unplayable. So that's why you see us in game 2 and 3 just ban that out of that game.
It definitely made a big difference. Game 3, what was your thinking behind Vlad?
Honestly, we fully expected the Lissandra. Cassino was kind of interesting. We wanted to let Darius not get banned because they've been banning Darius in the last 2 bans. So we just the first half picked it. I think it might have been our second or third pick. And we were waiting for Lissandra. I didn't really expect the Cassidon, and we were just gonna send me on Vlad against Lissandra 100% of the time.
Right, that makes sense. And so you just keep kind of rotating to keep that matchup up as much as possible.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I was excited to see the Darius. I've seen him pop off on that champ before, and thought he did a good job on that. Paul, you have anything else?
Yeah, so we'll get here on this Fish and Valor. So coming out of this, you said those couple of games here were some of the ones where you thought you guys really struggled maybe the most this season. What sort of things are you guys gonna be talking about and prepping as you get ready for finals?
Well, that was finals, but we're moving towards the promotions.
Oh, promotions. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But we definitely are going to watch it back tonight and probably point out a lot of flaws. I think game 2 we fought way too much with the insane scaling that we had with GP and Azir. A little too crazy, and we just kind of threw the game away early on that because Cass can hit a power spike much faster if just arc angle, or arc angle, whatever it's called. And I mean, game 1, I think we need to look at what we did there because Cassino was ahead, and we still managed to throw the middle of the game. So, yeah, we'll run it back tonight and watch it all through.
What was the thought process behind the shift in the jungler? Like, I wasn't a huge fan of this Sejuani. I know it's important in some comps to have like a big body in the front. But I was excited to see something different in the Kayn. I would have liked the Graves as well, but what are you guys thinking behind those picks?
So the first 2 games they had a different jungler, and he had a little bit different of a pool. So, but Dizzy mains Nunu, so we fully knew that we could put him on Kayn, and Kayn's a rather easy matchup into Nunu. A lot of free red stacks for the Kayn, and just farms way faster. And so we felt okay with that. Honestly, I think Graves is probably the same kind of position, but we wouldn't have had as good of a front line than Kayn can offer.
Right. Sounds all right. And you guys are up against Sand Shadows in the promotion game. Are you going to be ready?
Well, honestly, we haven't even started even looking at them, so we're going to have to prepare the next whatever days it is until we play them.
Got it. How many days do you have to complete the series? Is it about a week or less, or?
Honestly, I have no clue. Probably about like 5 days, 6 days.
Sounds all right. Well, I will certainly be watching that one and cheering for you guys. You guys earned that slot. It was a pleasure playing you twice for Shadow Mustangs. I thought those were great games, and this was a great one to cast as well. So congratulations, Fish and Valor, mid laner for Dragons, as they go on to the promotion series against Sand Shadows.
Thanks so much, guys.
And so with that, we say GG's. Obviously, here to Imperium Academy for putting up an awesome battle tonight. We say congratulations to Dragon of the West. They will be moving on to play Sand Shadows in the promotion relegation game. So for myself, for Merlin, for Ewok behind the scenes, and everyone else who put so much into it, thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in tonight. We'll see you next time. Have a great night.